aggressive, number one. I'm also passive. Third is unpredictable.
Rushable and flexible.
Calm, aggressive, the same thing. And the last word is gonna be ready.
Me as a coach, I like aggressive play style, doing like a lot of response trap, doing transitions between the hard points.
Fast, faster, fastest.
What's up guys, AO Raf. So we're currently going to be going through a pro player's loadout. I am personally a sub and heavy player, so I'm a machine gun and shotgun player. But my personal favorite in this meta is probably going to be the VMP. The USS is a great gun, but the VMP takes that throne for #1 spot, honestly. So I'll be showing you guys my personal and everybody's loadouts in the pro player. All right, bandit adjustable, heavy barrel, great attachment to use. Gotta go with the rapid fire, it's crucial. And this one's honestly where a lot of pro players differentiate. I personally like the integrated grip set, but other players do like the Phoenix grip set. It just comes down to how you like to play as a player person. I'd probably go for the integrated grip set though. And then for secondaries, honestly, melees are the best. I feel like pistols are overrated. You know, you gotta go with the gloves, boxing gloves, prize fighters, Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? It's really, really good stuff to use. Down to the operator, I personally am a fan favorite of the equalizers. It's really, really fun, just running gun, Rambo style, really, really great. The 3 perks, gotta go lightweight, you gotta go gun-ho. Toughness is honestly really, really good too, but I believe personally gun-ho would be the best one to go for. The third option for the blue perks, you gotta go with dead silence. It's a crucial must-have. Now, obviously in pro players, you know, you gotta use these 3 score streaks. You gotta go EMP, Predator Missile, and Hunter Killer Drone, because obviously everything else is banned. But yeah, honestly, that looks like a great loadout. You know, got the frag grenade. Actually, I'm one of the individual. I'll put you on a secret. I personally like sticky grenades. I think they're low-key, very underrated. Besides that, this is my loadout.
Basically, our best map is everything in the chump set. Our worst map is none.
My best map will be Summit as a shotgun. Shotgun is very powerful in Summit. And my worst map will be Standoff.
My best map, probably Hacienda. I really love that map. And my worst map, I didn't like to play Apocalypse at all.
My worst map is Summit, and my best map would be Hacienda.
My best map is Tunisia, and my worst map is Corona.
I would remove all the SMG.
I will actually remove the Type 63. Is really broken.
Probably USS 9.
The one weapon I would remove would be the Type 63.
The Type 63.
I could say it's fair, but at the same time, Type is still overpowered and it can still ruin the experience, just for me.
Believe it or not, I think it's really fair this year because there has been a lot of game rules with the updates, the nerfs, the buffs. I believe it's pretty fair this year.
Right now, it's really fair for me. Like the XM4, in the competitive same, like XM4, VNP, and Odin also, they are really good. But yeah, it's fair enough for me.
I think with a couple exceptions, if you take out 2 weapons, I think the balance is pretty good.
Today, for me, it's not really fair because it's the same meta since a long time. So I would like to change, and maybe the SMG are too good with the USS 9. So if we can go on a rifle meta, for me, it would be perfect.
Hi guys, I'm FDX, the captain for Stalwart Esports, and here is my loadout. I'm gonna start with the loadout. Since I'm a sniper man, I usually go with the Tundra. Even if it's nerf, it's okay. So here's my loadout for it. So I'm gonna first put the muzzle here. As you can see, oh, it's not upgraded, so let's upgrade it first. So muzzle, I usually go with this tactical suppressor just because I don't want to be seen in the map. The barrel, I usually put the one with the fire interval. So here, I recently used this just because some of the attachments are banned, but if it's not banned, just like before, I usually use this Hammer Forge. But for now, jump set, I use this rapid fire. So for stock, I just go with the FMJ so I can wall bang, one hit, you know, something like that. And for the ammunition, for sure, it's gonna be the 7-round. Rear grip, it's gonna be the Serpent Ramp, yep, for the ADS. Then we go to the secondary, I go with the gloves. Of course, just gives me the mobility. I usually use gloves just because I'm really into rushing while having a sniper. And if close range, I usually pull out my gloves and just punch them one hit, you know. And here, I play lightweight, then toughness, then dead silence. The lightweight gives me the speed toughness just because I don't want the hit flinch for the sniper. For the dead silence, so I could sneak up into the enemy. For my OS, I usually like Annihilator. Is this one. Since I'm a long-range person, sniping gives me also a one-shot kill OS. Then just flash. And for my score streak, it's just the chump set, obviously. The normal one, we just put the EMP in the AV, and it's all done. For those who wants to rush with a sniper, just like in getting that TikTok trend, you know, rushing with sniper, use my loadout. It's very good.
我们在比赛前的准备主要是会去观看我们即将的比赛对手的录像，然后会做一些自身的调整，比如说在我们一些地图的某一些环节，我们会进行一些特别的调整。
So usually before the match, we just play training mode, 20 minutes training mode. Then if we're like there's a lot of more extra time in, we just go for a free for all together as a team to like warm up our gunfights.
Me personally, as an individual, I make sure to have 3 things. Number 1, it actually happens before the match starts. I make sure to have really good sleep, minimum 8 hours. Number 2, I always make sure to eat very good food. And number 3, I always make sure to take a nice cold shower because it helps me refresh.
我们队伍每天的训练时间会在至少10个小时，然后如果在比赛密集的时期的话，我们的训练时间还会增加。
As a team, we're working around the 8-hour to 9-hour mark on average. However, people individually do work both inside and outside the game by their own time.
We usually train about 4 to 6 hours a day.
As a team, we might play 6-7 hours.
Usually, pressure isn't really a problem, but every player experiences it at some point. My personal best advice to that is take a deep breath in and sometimes just hold your breath.
I'm more like a chill guy, so I can work with the pressure without problems.
I remember that they're human too, and every emotion that I feel, they feel too.
So I would say when it comes to like raging, having a bad mood, it would be Eeyore. He's the one that's like, he's the one like snaps the fastest.
It'll probably be Kings, honestly. He's very passionate, you know, so his rage is very justified at a point.
It's between Rihan and Yuki.
I think for me it's Christine.
I think it's pretty obvious it's Marvel.
我觉得我们队里都挺容易急眼的。
Oh, that's me. That's me. Yes, that's me.
Probably me. I think I have a bad habit of speaking really fast to the point where I just like fumble my words, honestly. So it's a bad habit.
PT.
Maybe Kings can be Suiwa, I think so. I don't know. I think Suiwa.
I think it's Warden.
我们队里面应该是 Zero 的沟通，有的时候他可能会着急，就是也许人在这个位置，他会当时可能被他打掉的第一时间，他会报错别人的位置， 就可能比较急，然后有的时候他会说一些就很好玩的话，对。
Probably Kings. Honestly, he's somebody who once again takes those 1v1s really passionately, so I think he'll take the trophy on that.
Me.
I think gonna be Crossing because he doesn't like to lose any game.
I think it will be me.
我觉得我们队内1v1最强的选手是 Curly， 而且我觉得所有队伍都应该小心使用了 OnePlus 的 Curly。
For Yopi, I chose the emoji muscle because he looks muscular and he likes going to the gym. Then for me, I chose the emoji of a brain just because I think I have a great mental in terms of in-game, outside. I think I have great mental. Susano, I chose a sleeping emoji just because that's what he reminds me of it. So that's why I chose sleeping. For Klo, I put a emoji that is smiling just because this emoji reminds me of him just because he's a chill guy. So he's just a chill guy. That's why I chose this emoji. For Candy, it's pretty straightforward. Every time I see a glasses emoji, I remember him. So that's why I chose glasses. Then for Olea, just to make you guys understand, I chose a heart and a grown person just because the whole team thinks of him as a father and a friend of ours. So that's why I chose it.
First off is me, FDX. So I chose this emoji just because I'm always tired and every time I play I just get so tired. Next up is Skurd. I chose this emoji because he's really like an unpredictable guy. So Jai, I picked Cold because he's ice cold. For me, he's really the best in our team. He's our star player. Clove, I chose this emoji just because he always laughs all the time. He's always crazy, gives our energy up and everything. Riff, I chose this emoji for him because he's always like sleeping. For me, I'm tired, but he's always sleeping. Palitao, on the other hand, I chose this emoji for him just because he creates a wonderful place for us, for the team. He's basically our coach. Always stay up, creating those great plays just for us to win those trophies. So yeah, that's basically it. I think it's everyone eh. I cannot say.
I believe the greatest of all time will be, his name is Sai from Wolves. He has achieved a lot of MVPs.
In my opinion, PJ and Unzite are really demons in the game.
I think the best tactician player right now is Zai.
The best tactician, I think it's Zai.
I think the best tactician player in this tournament I've played against, it must have been Susano from Elevate.
For sure, it's Lucasin from Galleries.
Recently, from recent tournaments, it will be PJ that has, I believe, the best aim.
Zai. I think the player that has the best aim would be Lucasin.
In my humble opinion, I think Lucasin has the best aim in the game. I've seen his gameplays. I think his aim is really good.
I would go with Oling from Q9.
Due to trophies and achievements, will be Sai from Wolves.
Right now, I'd give it a Zai.
I think that gold must be Zai.
The greatest, I would say Zai.
It's gonna be me in the future.
I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. It's just a step, of course. It's good to win no matter the score, like if it's 3-2, 3-0, like it doesn't matter. So winning is winning.
got to dive the point. If you are Amigos, you got to go forward. Viper finds two, finds another. Jazz with the spin.
The emotion is crazy. It's just an insane feeling, to be honest. Nobody expects anything from us. They don't know what we're doing. They have nothing on us, so you don't want to face us because we got Viper.
Forward, you've got yourself the trophies. Oh my God! 4 and 5 and 6, and you push and you find everything.
I think this time we are playing like we are adapted to the meta the teams are playing, so that's what make the top 8 be there. We are ready to play whatever who it takes.
But it's just a little tick. That's maybe going to give UMD an opportunity to try and find a flank. Well, it would have if Raph wasn't here. 3 kills.
It doesn't matter the team. If you want to be the best team in the world, it doesn't matter who we face, we have to win.
I think the plan is to go just a map after a map and keep shooting hot.
You know, best of luck. Everyone that's here, you know, you got here for a reason. Just keep fighting.
All right, we're good? Okay. It's as good as we're going to get. We good? All right, thank you for trying anyway. Yesterday separated belief from reality for our players. We saw favorites find their fire, underdogs find their bite, and the teams that have made it here today too deserve to be here. But this is where things get a little bit more spicy. This is a double elimination playoff bracket, and it begins today. If you win, you maintain control of your destiny. You lose, you drop into the lower bracket where you have to fight for your life. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships, and welcome to the playoffs.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of the 2025 Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. We started with 16 squads. Today, we are down to our final 8. And at the end of tonight, we'll be down to just 3 squads remaining. I'm your host, Chris Bucket, alongside a fantastic desk today. We've got the legends, I Hold Shift and Proper. You guys have been casting this game since the beginning of COD M. The evolution has been in front of us, and we are witnessing some greatness out of China. But before we get into the storylines, we got to talk about this event as a whole. How's Poland been treating you?
Poland's been amazing. Seeing all the players just flourish and having a fantastic time just down in the lobby, just chatting with one another. They only get to see these international events realistically once per year, and you can see the love for the esport really come through in all the conversations.
Shift, you and I watch a lot of Call of Duty. This may have the best highlights of any broadcast we've done this year.
This game continues to just fuel all the energy. And this year for the international competition of World Championships, it feels like there are a lot of opportunities for anyone to come away as a champion by the end of tomorrow. I'm pumped to see how everything shakes out today.
It's been really fun because this is a global event. We got people tuning in from Africa, Asia, USA is waking up early to catch this action, and everyone has been chiming in online. If you find a clip better than King's 1v3, 1v2 yesterday, please send it my way. Hit the socials right there. I'm at MLG Puckett on X, and we will keep the discussion going throughout the weekend. But gentlemen, there's a lot of money on the line in this format. It may be the best we've seen in COD M. Double elimination at your World Championship is the dream as a player.
Yeah, I know that everybody's been looking for that second life, and it kind of adds that severity to the tournament as well. A lot of people coming into this tournament say that the real tournament does begin right now solely because you could be put backs against the wall just off the opening grip.
The thing about it is last time we had a double elimination bracket, guess who won?
Who?
Team that came out of the lower bracket called Tribe Gaming.
Oh, wow, that American squad.
I'll tell you what, that's one of those things, man. We've been begging for this format to come through. It's really provided the opportunity for teams to learn, grow, adapt, and that's the best thing about it. The best team at the end of the weekend will have felt like they've deserved their championship, and the teams that may have stumbled a touch have a chance to still provide the opportunity to still battle.
Now, I was looking at the Wolves on Liquipedia. They've already banked over $1.2 million, and they are taking the stage. If you win here in the early round, you're guaranteed top 6. That's another $42,500. But you know the Wolves, teams like Elevate, they are gunning for that $350K first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at it from the Wolves' perspective, I mean, how much more do you just want to win on the entire year? But for everybody else, like, this is life-changing money. You've been grinding all year long for this exact moment in time. Like you were saying, you got a $20,000 opening match, so you better take it very seriously.
We have a loaded talent lineup, and one of the best is out at the wall. Beef Mommy, what's been going on out there?
16 down to 8. And this wall represents all of our fallen soldiers. We only have 4 regions representing day number 2, but the ones who have fallen, that's NA, EU, and Africa, eliminate in the competition. But moving on over here in the brackets, this is what you're going to expect for day number 2. 2 teams from Garena, 2 from LATAM, 1 from India, and man, 3 from China standing strong. Let's see how day number 2 is going to play out. Let's go to the action.
It has been a fun group stage, and at the end of it, 2 teams advanced out of each of our 4 groups, and this is where they land in our bracket. The big question was, where will OUG land? Will they have to play Q9 in the opening round? They kind of luck out, but you're playing the second best in Garena in Stalwart Esports, right? So Tectonic, one of the greats of the sport, may have his hands full. What do you see in the top half of the bracket, though? This looks like a juggernaut battle for either Elevate, Puck, or Wolves. You got to go through each other to make it to that winner's final.
Absolutely. And you got to start off with just Street Gaming, who surprised just about everybody in the building yesterday with their performance versus TLE. But Elevate has to take everybody very seriously. They had a wake-up call versus OUG yesterday in the opening map. But even going in towards the second series, whatever ends up happening with the Wolves and Gallerus matchup, it's Shark-Infested Waters round 1, baby.
Alan, you got a dark horse for me? Anyone to cause some upsets in this opening round?
Look, there's a lot of buzz surrounding Stalwart Esports. They were in the Snowflake group yesterday. I think OUG has an opportunity to surprise the bracket. I won't say that they have shown enough to be a dark horse to win the whole tournament quite yet, but they can make a lot of noise early. I think there's some vulnerability in that opening matchup between Stalwart and OUG.
If you're looking for the cleanest wins, that belongs to Wolves. They went 3-0, 3-1. Their only loss was a DQ because a player naded himself in control.
Yeah,
so
it was a 4-0
they have been playing basically perfect in this tournament, and we wonder, can they keep it up the way they did back in 2023? Alan, we got to talk about the history of COD Mobile because there have been some phenomenal performances over time. What does it take to be a world champion?
Yeah, it takes a lot, first and foremost, but this is the way I think everyone's got their eyes on when you look at the bracket, is the possibility of another rematch between 2 of the best teams in the world based on what we saw at Call of Duty Mobile Majors this last year, pretty much throughout all of the summer. Wolves versus Q9. They are kind of antitheses of one another, where Wolves have dominated in Respawn. They've only lost 2 hard points throughout all of the Call of Duty Mobile Major. Where on the flip side, Q9 have been a search and destroy juggernaut, but have not been able to convert on hard point, especially against this Wolves team. A 5-14 overall map record in this calendar year versus Wolves. That is a pivotal matchup that we're likely to see, so I'm excited if that ends up becoming the case, especially today.
Andy, you said coming in, North America may be the weakest region, if not Europe, but China is definitely looking ferocious. 2 of the top Chinese squads could meet up in the upper bracket final. Is that how you have your bracket playing out?
That's exactly how I have my bracket playing out, especially through these opening rounds. I think you got to take it very seriously, like you were just saying right there. Like, you got 4 out of 5 of the CDM champions in attendance every single time that Q9 and Wolves meet each other. It's absolute fireworks, but still, where is it going to happen? Either upper finals or lower finals? I'm just waiting for it.
Let's talk about what it's taken to win tournaments in the past. Tribe Gaming winning the first world championship back in 2022. 2023 belonged to the Wolves, and Elevate, of course, most recently take it in 2024. So tell me the story of these squads, because each team has done something historic in COD M.
I would classify it with one word. You have to be groundbreaking. Tribe were absolute demons when it came to control in 2022, a mode that the East largely ignored as we started to get into it, because we had played domination the year before that. Tribe was flawless essentially in their control. You go to the next year, Wolves out of China, everyone was saying they put a lot of investment into search and destroy. Would that be enough to win a championship? They didn't drop a single search map on their way to their first world championship. But you look back to last year, now that everything started to kind of filter, we're playing the same map mode combinations across the globe, we're playing a lot of the same kind of overall weapon metas. How do you beat that. Elevate say, we're not going to play just single tap ARs. We're not going to play just shotguns. We're going to run through you with XM4s and things of the nature. And they played with a speed and ferocity that led to them not dropping a single hard point last year and only dropping one control.
So they chose tempo over the ideal weaponry that the rest of the world is going with. Have you seen any off metas that could work out here now that we're in the playoff bracket?
You know, what's funny is the one team that was actually going to be correlating that to is OUG. Because when you're looking at a lot of their search and destroy, you're not seeing the traditional double sniper. You're barely even seeing a single sniper. You're seeing solo pull out an AR, an SMG, even Tech pulling out the XM4 to up the ante a little bit on maps like Apocalypse. They have just about everything possible to throw a monkey wrench into the system. They are your off metas.
As we take a look at the teams, the three, Tribe is not here, right? So you got Wolves and you've got Elevate. So who has the better chance of going for their second world title? What have you seen from them so far, and what's it going to take to get there, Andy?
I'm going to go ahead and give it to Wolves immediately. I think that they're the team that jumped off the page just instantaneously. Everybody was ready to write them off how late they attended the event. They're missing their star player, SMG, that was in attendance for their entire run thus far. But still, I truly do believe that Wolves are going to be the one to get it done. Their hardpoint yesterday was astounding.
And here's a look back at what happened last time around. Walk me through this one, Shift.
Yeah, we've got opportunity for revenge in a lot of these games simply due to the fact that last year, I'm really looking at Wolves and Gallerus, an immediate matchup between two of the teams that we figured would be kind of at the top of it. They were playing in the Swiss stage when they had played last year. And then, of course, Elevate Street Gaming. That's one that, again, you could start to get back into the mix of, will we actually see those two powerhouse squads have a chance to square up once again and see who really has the edge over one another, as Elevate, of course, did not play in CDM this last year. It's going to be unique to see how these Garena teams really do face up against the Chinese powerhouses.
It was awesome listening to the players at the start of the show. If you guys were tuning in before we kicked off, we did an interview and we were asking, who is the greatest aimer in the game right now? They said it's a guy from Brazil. 3 different folks said it's going to be Lucas Sin. Why is this going to be our player to watch from Gallerus today?
If you interviewed me, I would have said the same exact thing. I mean, you go all the way back to when we were playing in Raleigh, the single tap SKS meta, everybody was always going to talk about Lucas Sin. Every single year, if there's a single tap meta, which go figure there is, he's going to have some of the most raw aim and mechanical skill in the game.
And then, of course, when it comes to the GOATs, you can see Gallerus has run into the Wolves in the past, and the man leading the way was Zai, the MVP so far for 2025 throughout the regular season. Expectations for the player that everyone is saying is the GOAT of COD M right now.
That's bold, too. I mean, it's not that bold. He's incredible, but it is one of those that I was surprised how convincing all of the other players were really with conviction saying that Zai is by far the #1 player in the world. This is the interesting part, though, is take a look at our map mode combinations that we have here. I thought it was, anytime you play China on Summit Hardpoint's a mistake. I think Gallerus have probably learned that lesson. But what we talked about is the search and destroy for Wolves has not been great. Not just in their region, but there's also been vulnerabilities when we see them in the international stage, including this matchup last year across a number of other actual pivotal matchups that they had throughout Swiss and the playoff bracket last year as well. So there are elements to where Gallerus need to show that individual aim capability of Lucasen can stop the power of Wolves' hardpoint, but at the same time, Wolves need to really adapt in the search and destroy if they want to have a chance to run to the grand finals.
We'll be diving into that first match in just a moment. Time, here's a look at your bracket. Andy, walk me through this one. How did our teams get here, and who are your 4 squads to look out for in the opening round?
I have a lot of Chinese teams making a very deep run, and they're not going to just be joined by all the Chinese regions as well. I think that Elevate are going to come into this and absolutely shake things up. Whether they make a lower bracket run or not, everything that we got yesterday was a lot of decisiveness from the groups, specifically from Q9 and from Wolves. Elevate also qualifying from the upper side of the bracket. I think that's what you're mostly looking at to end up making a deep run here.
Enough chatting here at the desk. It is time to get your playoffs started as we send it to the stage with Ian Chambers.
Mr. Puckett, listen, if you join this stream nice and early, you are about to be rewarded for it because we are kicking things off with 2 of the best in this bracket. And it is now time to bring them out into position to get into game. Let's begin with the first team onto the stage. It's Gallerus. Bom dia to the boys from Brazil. They've been called the West's best chance at a top 4 finish. They've showed their potential before last year, and now we find out if they've leveled up. Their opponents, it's Wolves. From China, they topped Group B with complete control. Even down a pack member, they're still settling in and looking every bit still like the favorites. Talk about kicking off with an absolute banger. One of these teams will maintain the top form in the bracket. The other will drop into the lower, where they will fight for their lives. Which way will it go? Puckett, let's talk about it.
Thank you very much, Ian Chambers. We've got our match ready, and this is a banger. Gallerist finishing top 4 last year. Wolves 2023 World Champions. You've got the GOAT in Zai, but the big storyline for me is the return of the 5th man. King is going to be in the mix, returning from retirement. He was on that World Championship squad. Yep. He has held that trophy. Can he help this team get to the next round?
And I remember watching him being able to absolutely dismantle his way to that World Championship trophy lifting. So I think that, yes, he will live up to the expectations, and although Rise is not here, King has been stepping up and absolutely knocking it out.
And of course, shout out to Sounds and Win. They were not part of that World Championship squad, but definitely contributing in this tournament. Alan, as you take a look at the Wolves, they are the favorites, but Gallerist on the other side, they have been in the huddle. They've got their game plan set. Where can you take games off of Wolves? Where are they vulnerable, if at all?
Search. That's the one-word answer. However, there are opportunities to manipulate the respawn map pool to try to find a way to slow down Wolves. I would say first and foremost, if you've done your homework, you don't want to play Wolves on Crossfire Control. You don't want to play them on Summit Hardpoint. So that is what I'm looking at first and foremost. If you're Gallerist, have they done their homework? Do they have that locked in to try to get the best map mode combos out of the pool for Wolves? Often when we get to this point, Chris, we say it a lot, you cannot just veto your worst map. You have to be able to flex your map pool to take away your opponent's best. That's going to be a key if Gallerist want to slow down this fast Wolves team.
Wolves got that gun. They are ready to showcase their skills as they are taking on the best from Brazil and Lucas. And we take a look at the squad. They are locked in. They were the first team into the venue today, Andy. They're ready to grind.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the last teams to arrive, one of the first to arrive in the venue multiple days in a row now. They are grind incarnate, always trying to up their ante ever so more, so that way they are always ready for the competition should it meet them.
Here's a look at the squad representing Brazil. We have Gallerist. Lucas Zid, of course, going to be a key player to look at. He will be your sniper, your one-tap god. Foki, you got Henry Cat, Mihawk, Zeus rounding out the lineup. What do we think of the move that this team made, though? Because Pab Zero, a legendary sniper, was on this squad. Yeah. They bring in Zeus for the World Championship. They have faith that this is their stronger 5-man lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting to be sure, because when we started to really turn our attention in towards the Latin American region and Brazil in particular, I think a lot of us were thinking that Lucas and Pabzera as a combined duo were one of the more untouchable sets of players coming out of not just the region, but the hemisphere. In the West, they were looking so good. So I don't know what exactly is in there between them, but whatever it happens to be, it has to be an upgrade. I don't know if we've seen that to this point, though, because they got blown out of the water by Q9.
What I love about Lucas Zin, though, is he said, I will be the future GOAT. You need that confidence if you ever want to reach that peak. He has faith in his own control. You got to have faith in your teammates, though. But if you're looking at an individual, they say he has the best shot in the game. So what weapon do I want to make sure he's working with every single game?
Oh, it's got to be the Type 19, isn't it? I mean, in between the Type 19 and the Odin, this guy's going to be posted up, holding irons, and just watching everybody cross right in front of him, so that way he can either walk away with a 2-headshot kill or set up one of his SMGs for an easy cleanup soon afterwards. That would end up being Mihawk to try to push forward to be able to find that elimination. But yeah, Lucas in, it's even more so of just his aiming prowess. It's also his knowledge of the game, for how long he has been there. You talk about the GOAT status. He's been doing it for such a long time. He knows where to be at the right moment to set his team up for success.
I just saw a yawn. Wolves gotta wake up. Gallerist is ready for him, and I am told our maps and modes are locked in. So let's take a look at where where we'll be playing in this best of 5. For anyone tuning in for the first time, Shift, how does this work?
Yeah, so we're going to go through the process of you pick which side you want or which team you want first. You ban out one hardpoint map, you pick one hardpoint map. You ban out one search map, you pick one search map, and then each team takes a turn banning controls until there's one left. Interesting.
Crossfire.
Crossfire's in the picture. As I'm looking through it, Takeoff was an option. Like, it was up to Galorus to decide if they wanted to play Crossfire or they wanted to play Takeoff. In their region, they played nothing but Takeoff. Yesterday, they played essentially nothing but Takeoff. They played one Crossfire against Q9, and they got smoked. So I'm confused on this, with Galorus having the chance to go to Takeoff, where you assume Lucozin could just post up, hold down at the one-tap angles, and dominate, at least you would figure so. I don't love that pick overall for Galorus. Outside of that, though, I will say they do get a Hacienda in the map pool, which is a huge bonus, simply because Wolves do not look particularly great on that map.
Wolves have not been taken to a game 5. If we go to Coastal Search and Destroy, who's got the edge, Andy?
I'm probably still going to give it over towards Wolves. I mean, their best of 5 map set. This is probably the best draw they could possibly give for themselves as far as the veto process is concerned. That map number 2 firing range is what's jumping off the page to me almost immediately. But it's a big if whether or not we end up getting over towards that map number 5. Again, just to echo Alan's point, to see the Crossfire is an anomaly. Combine, you got to try to do whatever it is possible versus this Wolves roster. They got rid of the Summit like Alan really wanted to see, but you still got to face them on their, what is their second best hardpoint map?
Yeah.
Regionally, who's better at hardpoint? China or LATAM?
Tough to say, because as a region, you would say that China is more of a search and destroy region, but Wolves are not that. They are a respawn team, first and foremost. And it's hard to really classify anything in LATAM, because it's just, you're asking me, Chris, what is Galorus best at? Because the rest of the teams in Latin America are relatively irrelevant when it comes down to the actual significance of being able to take down a Chinese team, and Galorus don't get touched in their region by anybody. So when you're flawless in every single mode, it is tough to answer. I would say that just generally, though, in this head-to-head matchup, if you're going to win, if you're Galorus, you have to be able to take the 2 and the 5 and one of the respawns.
2, 5, and one of the respawns. Can you steal Combine? That will be the first question. You can see that our players need a few more moments to get the audio dialed in before we kick this one off. So let's talk about that Combine hardpoint. This is not a map you see in the CDL. So here in COD Mobile, what am I looking out for, Andy? What are the key hills? Where do I get my money 60, if at all?
P2 and P3 are your big money rotations. I mean, you can end up turning P4 into an absolute money hill too, but Combine, I would say only one of the hard points is not a virtue for a money hill, and that would of course be P1. It's a very fast-paced map. Operators find a lot of value, especially from the Sparrow and the War Machine. It will be explosive nonetheless.
There's a look at Galorus, the top squad from Brazil, ready to take the stage, but it wasn't an easy road to the World Championship. Let's take a look.
We are from Brazil. It's a pleasure to represent Latin, also the region. It's really, really big for me, from my team. It's more than I can put in words. What makes my team unique is the passion, because Brazilian people really love living the moment. The hardest game in our road probably was the final, because it was too pressure, we want too much, and yeah, probably the hardest game.
All right, taking home another LATAM championship.
After we won the qualifier, it was really good for us, but not too much. Like, the job's done, but not yet, you know? Like, we like to think like step by step. So we can achieve one spot, but we can do more. To our teams in our group, be ready. We are here.
Galorus are ready. Street Gaming, also here from LATAM, will be taking on Elvi in their opening round. So a lot of the Brazilians in chat are saying this is our opportunity. Cause an upset over Wolves. You have a interesting road ahead of you. They're the underdogs, but anything can happen here. As you take a look at the Wolves one more time, I'm told this game is almost ready. So Andy, we highlighted Zai. Who is your player to watch, though, in this best of 5?
I mean, immediately jumping off the page, got to be King. Going back and watching a lot of his matches in the group stage, just trying to keep an eye on like how he's fitting into the mold, taking some time away. So my eyes are going to be immediately on the King to see what he can do to really try to help his team and to find success here in this tournament.
What about you, Shift? I saw a puzzled look on your face as we were zoning in there on Galorus.
Chris, it's early. I'm over-focused on the map pool. This just feels like a series that could be I don't know, like the start of what the chess game is going to look like as we get deeper and deeper into this tournament, and we start to see the better and better teams rise to the top, not just of the bracket, but also just in general, and the placements. And for Wolves, you said that there was a couple players who were yawning. They got in at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday night. They didn't slow down on Friday. They dealt with their group stage, but the jet lag could be an issue, and you cannot afford to come out slow against this Gallerist team on a map that they're also very good at.
It's been a near perfect run for the Wolves. Only one loss, and that was a DQ for a self-nade. We jump into a fresh best of 5. This is your playoff bracket. Who locks into the top 6? Who fights for their lives? It's time to find out.
Let's take a look again. Rematch on the line here from last year's Swiss stage. One that was really, none of the 3 maps were close. It was Wolves very clean in the hard point of the control. It was Gallerist really clean in the search and destroy. Something would have to change here, though, you think, if Gallerist were to find what would be classified as a major upset. Rosters aside, it's the best from LATAM, it's the best from China. Gallerist versus Wolves. Let's get it on.
Combine hardpoint yesterday for Wolves was absolutely lovely. 250 to 63 versus Animus, 250 to 161 versus New Gen Ninjas. They love it here. 5-0 throughout their entire region thus far, and they have a fantastic start to back it up.
Really clean. Mihawk, though, does find a combined double. Gives an opportunity for Gallerist to come off spawn and be able to at least contest some of this time on P1. Little pinch from Wind, only able to find 1, as it looks like Wolves are actually going to be pushed back just a touch, trying to play the outside of the map more than actually funneling through the middle. We've seen them do this a lot, and that's been finding a lot of success for them, at least in their own region when we had seen them prior to this event, and of course, like you mentioned, from day number 1. But Gallerist is hanging, they're fighting, and now they're trying to move across the map.
Yep, gonna have to try to get some north lane control if they want to do anything. It's just kind of straight running up through the middle, and nobody's finding any space whatsoever. Zai has a fantastic off angle to nullify any forward pressure that Gallerist was once looking for. And the rotation's about to be calling for us here, Shift, and the Wolves are locking it down. They're setting themselves up for a very easy setup.
Well, Mihawk does find 2 getting across the middle of the map, so he's got an opportunity to challenge this early, but tries to go to the drop shot and will be denied, as King, again, the substitute in, has already provided a lot of confidence boosting towards the Chinese #1 team. Wolves looking good as they lock down the spawns. They're forcing Gallerist to come from the north lane, and it's being read perfectly by none other than King. Only finds 1, though, and that leads to an opportunity for Gallerist to stack and try to get in for some time of their own.
Yep, gonna have to try to continue to flood the pressure in and maybe try to get a couple of eliminations. King, he's already gonna rip out the Tempest, finds the first 3 more shots within that operator, but he does get taken down. The immediate response for the War Machine just to back up the rest of this time.
Yeah, and this has not been bad at all for Gallerist. They have actually contested a pretty considerable amount, even though the early operators for Wolves would make you think that they would be good on the hard point, but the spawns flip. And now with 15 seconds of scrap time, Gallerist have a chance to get this to eventually a tie game. You can see Wolves in the minimap already playing for rotation back to P3, so if you're Gallerist, get the clean wipe and then move forward, and Lucaszin's roaring behind us.
Lucaszen able to find the remaining 3 eliminations on rotation. Now here we go. Players push up pretty far forward for Wolves. This is good alarm bells for their setup when we get over towards P3, but not all the information in the world is still good info. Watch the rock push. It's starting to be manifested by Gallerist. They only trail by 7.
And they have operators to try to break this open if they want it. Death Machine, Sparrow going to come out for Wolves first. That's going to provide a lot of opening denial, but you do get survivability off of the equalizers and the Death Machine on the other side. Gallerist able to take their lead on the break from the front. Wolves still spawning in the back, waiting for some concentrated focus before they hit this, but the Tempest is right there. Lucaszen connects the equalizers, holding things down, and Gallerist will successfully hold from the front.
Yeah, good response there from those operators and that resource advantage you were hinting at there, Alan, but still, Wolves gonna try to fight for this all the way in towards the back. These spawns are so sticky. Gallerist can't find the wave of gunfights to keep them in the back of the spawn. This is backed up by Peg's equalizer, so that way you can push through the hard point. With 10 seconds remaining, you couldn't have asked for a closer hard point, just about a tie game.
But I will say, as soon as we start to see a power play come through for one team or the other, the opponents have found a way to respond. That was a brilliant idea from Peg to try to get through the old hard point and rotate the new, but Gallerist deal with it pretty decently. Now we've got a 50-50 battle as before this hard point opens up here at P4. Wolves have the numbers first, plus they find a couple of kills and they shut down the pinch. Looking good for Wolves to set themselves up for early time.
And look at the forward pressure again for Sounds, just trying to play the off angle. If he goes 1-for-1, which he did, that's completely fine. That does kind of keep this push for Gallerist more honest, much like what we saw on the rotation over towards 3, but a route is being hit. Mihawk Zoo's going to be able to find just a few, but the rest of the members for Gallerist, they find success through the front.
Yes, counter pinch on the way from Zai. He's able to find 1 to slow down Gallerist's respawn, but Still alive and in the hardpoint is Zeus for a small time. Wolves now with numbers, making their way back over as the hardpoint is contested. Essentially a dead tight game. Wow, good morning, COD Mobile. We are dealing with some hot hardpoint. Back and forth we go. King will able to find one. Peg trying to follow up behind this. It is just kind of these different 2v2s, 3v3s, pinch shutdown. Galler's trying to play through the old time, and they will find a couple of kills to get themselves set up around the new P1.
Line 37 eliminations in between Mihawk and Lucozine. These guys are going nuts. Tempest is going to get shut down for Lucozine. You have 3 operators in the back pocket for Wolves. You imagine you're using that as a last-ditch effort once we get over towards P2. Stray gunfights still happening, fighting for those P2 spawns, and it will be Gallerus that do come up on top. But yes, dead even game. Wolves trying to fight through the current time, and they're getting the wave of gunfights to try to get more space forward.
Look at the utility usage for Wolves, just flooding through these choke points as they continue to play off the catwalk behind and below this hardpoint. Sounds now cutting back across. Able to find 2 before being shut down by Hen, who has been an X-factor for Gallerus when they play at their top level. Holding on towards the left side of the map are the Latin Americans. Trades back and forth, again, leaving us to a pretty neutral hard point. Mihawk feeling some pressure, just trying to get some lanes to work with. And it's a bold death machine call, but it provides some breathing room for Gallerus to get themselves set up, get trophies down, and respond to whatever Wolves throw your way.
It was in response for Zai using their death machine through P1 to try to push their way forward. So you trade the resource for the resource, and now you have the numbers advantage for the rotation over towards New. Foki rips the equalizer, tries to find a couple spawn kills. Might want that in the back pocket for a moment, depending on how these opening up fights go.
But you've got a Sparrow available, and that's exactly called in for Gallerus. Lucozine holding from the interior. Sounds trying to get the War Machine in for the break attempt. A couple of explosive kills do come through. Hen will fall. So it's now into the Tempest as well as with the War Machine. And this is looking good for Wolves. Spawns are still in though, and Mihawk somehow finds 2. Peg trying to follow up. Hitting a different route as you got the equalizers out, and you can spam down the back door. Gallerus are all flooding in from the back though, and are continuing to get better numbers inside. They're hanging on, they're holding on, and they will push Wolves back.
Wow, that is an insane wave of gunfights for Gallerus to be able to turn into their response do flip. But Gallerus, they're starting to understand this. They're losing gunfights around L, but still win. Able to pull the Sparrow, finds just a handful. It's explosive on the back end here on P2 as another spawn flip does occur. But Gallerus did a bang-up job dealing with that equalizer call from Peg, just with the Sparrow being shut down. They'll walk away with still the majority of this time. And now with these wave of gunfights going their way, they can keep all of Wolves trapped on the P2 side of the map and just hold for the rotation.
Yeah, that was almost a very tough moment. It's one of those that we classify as Gallerus is fragging too well. They push up too much and then gift Wolves the spawns. But like you mentioned, a couple of straight members for Gallerus still spawn behind, and they're able to at least salvage the majority of that back 30 from disaster. Now over to P3. Battle for the hard point first, as Wolves have the numbers in from the front doors. That was Mihawk trying to play a bit of a pinch, but he gets caught. Gallerus will still spawn in, but for Wolves, they're fine keeping the gunnies up and just watching them come into these choke points.
And watch Mihawk again. He's trying to get a little active.
Love it.
Watching that angle. His timing is going to get really, really well done here. No, here's a hop-up maybe for Zai. That's a big elimination. And now the rest of the assistance for Wolves. Reinforcements are around the corner, but Gallerus still have these back P3 sticky spawns. They're trailing by 30.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things because Wolves, I think they realized with that gifted spawn flip that they could pull another operator or two to try to hold on. They have nothing for this hard point. So a death machine for Gallerus allowed them to get back in. Now you flip the spawns around. That's almost more voluntary, as Gallerus would love to keep Wolves behind this hill. 20-point game. Trying to rotate over to New. Keep your eye on the minimap for the players in yellow. Holding off those key choke points to the middle of the map. Trying to work on that as Wolves, though. And it's Peg to kick us off to try to stretch the map around the back.
Nobody's watching that mid-cross, though. So one does get through for Wolves. Gallerus going to have to pick up that flank as the hard point is just about to become active. 30-point is the differential. Foki with the HSO. Can't lock down the elimination versus Zai inside of the server room. But still, stray gun fights mean even better trades for Gallerus as they at least hold on from the initial salvo.
Explosive operators are out for Gallerus. King has to be very patient with this Tempest. He gets stunned and he gets dealt with. Oh, what a hunter-killer drone from Hen. Opportunity for Gallerus to flip the map on its head and take the lead right back as Lucozine continues to connect with the Tempest of his own. Peg trying to find something around the side, but not able to really do too much with that position. Wolves trying to continue to play off this little bit of a split, but they're not getting good focus on these break attempts. Finally, a couple of nades land, and they can now start to execute by pinching the hill.
Sounds has a flank, gets shut down, and now we can reset ourselves. 50-yard line is intact. Stray spawns all over the place from the uncontested hill. It is just an absolute melee here on P4 at the end of the second set, but what a turnaround for Gallerus that were trailing by 30 at one point from that P2 incursion into P3. They fight their way right back to keep it a dead even game. We are eating good this morning, Kadem.
I'll tell you what. Luke is in at 39. Kill leader currently in the lobby. Again, at the pre-show, there is the debate. Who's the best aimer in the game? Lucasson was the overall consensus. Who's the best player in the game? Zai was the overall consensus. You can only have one king in the mix, and I'm not talking about the substitute for Wolves. Tie game, P1, still open and active for Gallerus, and they were able to lock down the left side of the map as it was being fought for a moment from Wolves. So some moments here where Gallerus could possibly set themselves up for success as we move through the rest of this rotation.
Respawn Demons from China, forced to be a little humble this morning. 168 still counting up this time, cannot just go over, and Gallerus are completely aware of it. But much like in the second set, play for the spawns first and try to get your nades in towards P1 to keep the time away from Wolves. But the setup is the most important part. They're shutting down any sort of flank opportunities that Wolves were once looking for, and they just have to meet them at the gates now.
4 operators at the ready for Wolves. 2 as the Gallerus try to defend. Roughly a 30-point game. Death Machine out first for Mihawk. King calling in a Pred Missile to try to slow this down. He finds Zeus with it. But now Mihawk has to go quickly, trying to clear up the north side of this P2 hard point. Able to find the first. Response from Zai on the other side, trying to win the spawns, and that's a huge win. Opportunity for Wolves to flip and get over the 200-point mark.
And now this is going to be the flip and revert to the pressure, isn't it? Where Gallerus wanted to play mostly for the P2 spawns. They didn't contest much of the P1 time, and then the operators get pulled. It goes in Wolves' favors. Now they can have the opportunity to run away with it. The back spawn's still there for Gallerus. Able to work their way back in towards the current time, and there's still 30 left to play.
Huge moment here for Gallerus. They have a Tempest available, and they're going to pop it. But Zai holds it down from inside the hill. That could possibly grow this lead to insurmountable outcomes as Gallerus are still spawning behind. Win now taking that position from the front. Trying to hold this was King, but he gets shut down off of his operator. And look at the spawns. Gallerus will find themselves spawning right on top of the new hard point. An opportunity to bring this thing back.
Old man Ratai has an EMP. Zai rips his first. This could be the snowball to encapsulate the last 25 for Wolves to finally put Gallerus to rest.
EMP is out, but Wolves are a long way away from seeing this hard point. Pred Missile finds one in the back. Backing up to deal with that is Lucasson. Sees his teammate spawn near him, but now you've got Wolves from the front. Oh my goodness, Head finds 2 off screen. Just hanging in a corner. Foki now has the opportunity to pull equalizers to bring this back, and he sees the window to hit the triggers at the perfect moment. Gallerus looking good to get past 200.
Holding off 2 different EMPs between Zai and King, and they're still able to anchor the spawns. They're still able to get their operators afoot and keep this in their favor. Still 25 seconds left to play for here on P4, and Gallerus would do well to soak up the rest of it. Zai around the back with the Death Machine. It's a bullet hose. He sees one spawn right in front of him, deals with it in kind. Wolves have flipped the point.
Wolves cannot win here. They will get damn close. What do we have available? Nada. Absolutely nothing. This is just raw vanilla COD Mobile. Heading over to P4. King has earned himself back that operator that was initially shut down before. I think he can even take a shot with it. But Gallerus are late to the party before the hard point opens.
War Machine to start things off here for Sounds. Trophy system not in play to stop that initially. So wow. P4 Wolves, they're going to be able to use the operator's snowball back in towards their favor. They'll close out map number 1, but scary and humbling, I would say, for the Wolves team.
Unbelievable start. We got a little late coffee delivery, but I don't know if we need it.
Yep, no, I'm good now.
My goodness. This is about to be an epic clash.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, again, just if you're joining us late or if you were just, you know, getting the sleepy dust out of your eyes, Bobby, looking at you, brother. This is a map series layout that really does set up for what could be an instant classic. You've got 2 hardpoint maps that both teams either would love to see or don't see often. And a search and destroy map pool that has us sitting, oh, okay, could go either way. And I'll tell you what, I think that the opening of this, the first 2.5 rotations where it's just you take 30, we take 30, we're contesting evenly, it's just a back and forth game of tug of war, I think that's going to be the sentiment around this entire best of 5.
Can't see it going any other way, man. Again, just the explosivity that came out from Gallerus, specifically from Mihawk. I mean, I go back to last year and I think about how active he was during the R9-0 meta. And we're seeing it now, especially playing off of the back end of Lucas and just leading the lobby as far as eliminations is concerned. Just got a little away from them there at the end where the Death Machine gets pulled, one route just gets completely extracted for Wolves. Find those couple of spawn kills, and I mean, once you end up getting those 2 EMPs and can't really do much to contest the back 20 over on P2, there's only so much you can ask for. But 45 and 43 from Sounds, he would be the in-game MVP for Wolves. But Zai, from that poll that we saw there at the end from the Death Machine, 56 and 37. Look at everybody just sharing in the limelight as far as the OBJ time is concerned.
Yeah, let's go, dude. I'm so here for this.
Yep.
And I think the thing about this matchup, and, you know, I would have to have a feeling that those that are very, very passionate COD Mobile competitive followers, you look at just how this year has played out, and you look at what Wolves has done from start to finish in China, dominating in the respawn. And they only dropped 2 hardpoint maps across some of the best teams in the world over the course of about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Gallerus yesterday did not show us, I think, enough against Q9 to make us believe that they could hang with the other teams from China, whether that's Wolves or maybe even OUG.
Sure.
That's a statement.
Yes, it is.
That's massive, I think, for Gallerus. You can come and say, all right, you know, we dropped it. That was their map pick. We're hanging.
Yeah.
Let's come back, keep that same energy, and slap them in the face here in the search.
You know who shares that sentiment with you? Gallerus, because they were not very happy with how that series versus Q9 went yesterday. I caught up with them in the player lounge and I was asking, I was like, what ended up happening? Because the scoreline was just completely out of this world and not something that I would expect, especially playing Hardpoint versus Q9, the known search and destroy entity coming out from the Chinese region. So I think it is extremely, it's a massive statement. Let's just put it that way for Gallerus that they are here to play. But now the road continues to become a little more windy. Let's just put it that way. Firing range yesterday for Wolves. Search and destroy was the only map 2 they played. They lost a total of 5 rounds in between New Gen Ninjas and Animus, which is quite boasting if you're thinking about it from the New Gen perspective.
For that. I think the other thing too here is just kind of looking over these map picks and bans, which I know it's early. We're digging into the nitty gritty. I know there's a couple of you nerds that are awake, ready to hear this information.
It's us.
It is us. Wolves, Q9, when they play this map, they play it in a way that is very uniquely different than I think a lot of other teams internationally, because it's, I hate to make this sound so like oversimplified, but it's very predictable how they play it. Smoke over the, like from the offensive side, smoke over the top, flash into the smoke, run up, plant, play a 5v5 post plant at worst.
Yeah.
As much as we often look at, you know, China for their sniper rifle presence in search, that's not really what Wolves have trusted, and it's hurt them in the past. But I think them playing that style versus Gallerus could really work out for them, especially with King in the roster instead of Rise.
Yeah, playing fundamentally sound, I think, has always led them to find success on the international stage, especially when it comes down to series like this. Even last year in the map number 2, I believe is the one that they ended up taking off of Gallerus in the group stage. But we'll have to see. Just a little while longer to see those setups for Wolves that Alan was talking about. It is Gallerus on the offense first, as ceremonious as ever. Get some nades over the top and just post up in wood.
Yeah, the smoke, though, for the offense at A is a little short. Didn't take enough club to get into the backside of A. Snipe, though, lands for King, and that's another thing you want to talk about. Again, he's a world champion, and a lot of the conversation surrounding him was that when he pulls out a scope, he's usually good for at least one. And Wolves have started off this firing range flawlessly as Gallerus are blown out of round 1.
That double sniper just immediately stopped right in its tracks. If you get those nades and those stuns right over the top, the nade did connect to the player that was outside of American. I don't remember who it was for Wolves, but again, Gallerus just kind of posts up inside of wood. It is as firing range opener as you could possibly imagine. And the Wolves just completely run them over. So any immediate adjustments that can come through the nades this time around, Alan, they reach all the way back. There is a trophy system back trailer, but Gallerus are taking a lot more space quickly.
Smoke this time, still a little bit short of that A site, so it looks like Gallerus want to try to play this in the middle of the map and over towards 10. King still alive and kicking, able to get back towards safety. He's got wind right next to him. But the biggest issue here, and you could see it, King knows the bomb's down inside a trailer, so these smoke attempts to try to block off the mid-cross and dive into 10 has not really worked out all that well.
How do you try to retake this?
I have no clue.
This is exactly what you do. You leave one player of Lucas, and he's playing inside of the showers. Just maybe if anybody overextends, but like you said, the information is mutual. That bomb is dropped inside of trailer. So now you have to use the last 60 seconds to clear all of B through tires. One player overextends first. Nobody near for a trade. We're still clearing B, but we got to recover the bomb.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, but that 3-man swing needed to move together, and they needed to move quickly to try to get a 1v3 situation.
Yeah, isolate one of the targets and at least walk away with the trade.
Well, a look for Lucasine over towards the trailer. He's not going to get anything. Or
elbows.
How?
Elbows poking.
That's a mistake. You've got a crossfire set up in the bomb in front of you, and the substitute in makes a critical misstep. Now Wolves trying to play this over towards the obstacle course, and that'll work.
And you can just shut it down. Yeah, hey, what a nice little slide out for 3, sure. Yeah, critical errors be damned. Everything gets nullified when Win slides over by the training dummies. So I'm stuffed immediately for Gallerus, who've had really struggled to try to get the bomb anywhere near this A bomb site. So they're going to take a pivot. They're going to take this fast hit over towards B all the way through jungle. Now, the player that is here with Sounds, he's got the Odin trying to play for the 1-for-1, but he's hearing all this info.
Yeah, and King's able to connect down to the opener. So now Wolves will get full clearance through mid, toss a couple of nades to slow down this hit for Gallerus around tires. Yeah, they're realizing that they're stuck right now. You're going to have to hope that you find another trade pick just for someone over peaking, but Wolves have everything they could possibly want to defend this B site.
Can't really get a rotation out for free either. If they get any sort of hint that they're trying to leave past jungle, which is IC's afoot, could end up being the challenge here momentarily. But like you said, every single scope, Iron's being held for this cross. Here comes Crawl forward, trying to stretch. Yeah, he's going to be able to get it. He can hear the audio cue. It's the call for Sounds to slide forward, get the elimination. Wonderfully executed for Wolves. So patient.
That's a little bit of a mistake right there for Gallerus. The stretch is just long enough, but we're not covering fully because mostly you just don't know where Wolves are, so you have to watch everything all at once. And in that sound cue moment, Wolves are able to convert, and likely that means that they will cruise their way to a very quick 3-0 edge. Unless something crazy happens, and, well, doesn't look likely.
Yeah, no, the PKM comes in for a little wall spam. Lucasin's going to find a consolation kill, and well, it's just up to Hen. He's got the Odin. Kid is cracked, but in a 1v4 sub 30 seconds, he's trying to get an isolated shell over by tires. He will die, but yeah, just struggling to try to get the bomb fully executed over towards the bomb plant. I mean, that was probably the best look to potentially do it. Like you were saying, if you're going to go for that stretch, you best hope for that slide shot that's going to be coming through from a 2-tap Odin. You better be able to get that elimination before your bomb planter dies. So 3-0 lead here for Wolves. Gallerus gonna throw out these smokes right over the top of A. It looks like a little bit of a lurk to see if they can catch anybody overextending, trying to cause considerable doubt for the Wolves camp.
Different setup here for the offense as well. You've got the one same smoke over towards the cross at mid on the mid barrels, but not the same smoke behind A. Nade over the top at B does not land, but it was also not denied by a trophy. Problem is, all of that focus that Gallerus had spent at mid, Wolves say, you're not going to challenge us, we'll challenge you. And Zai gets a first blood and slows down Gallerus a touch, but a follow-up kill does get connected by the Latin Americans, and this is just 1v1s all over the map.
Yeah, it's like I was saying at the top of the round. That's the setup. They just wanted to bait all of Wolves to think that they were still trying to slow execute over towards B. Sounds puts himself on the backside of the B bomb site, and they were hoping for the overextension to come through in trailer, which it does. So 3v2. Numbers here for Gallerus, but better be quick to pick up this flank. It's a massive 1v1 if Sounds can pick it up.
He's able to connect. King setting up the pitch.
All right.
Perfect. Just down to one, and whoa, Mihawk has found himself some isolation. Now to the 1v1, and you know exactly where the last player is!
Oh!
What a set of shots for Mihawk! A huge lifeline to get Gallerus on the board.
Chow just came flying out like a wombat. And was able to lock him down. Odin versus the SMG, the VMP, and would walk away with the elimination. That could have got dirty very, very quickly. But finally, Gallerus, they break through the mold. They get on the board. And to be any signs of light would be nice. Smoke right in front of Wood. And it seems like Gallerus are trying to double dip from the previous strategy, but this time they are sending 2 players to throw considerable utility over towards the B site now, Alan, to try to see if they can catch anybody overextending on that side of the map. But Wolves, they're going to adapt and learn what really came back to bite them in the previous round. Not going to give them an inch.
Different smoke setup again, though. Has Q9, pardon me, Q9. Wow, it's early. Wolves looking a little bit differently on their defense. Trophy Systems have the member in A feeling comfortable, though. And yeah, Wolves have made the right call in terms of how they're leaning this defense, playing more of a reactionary retake around B unless they can hear a sound cue. So yeah, eyes should be on Lucas, and if this is going to be a commitment over to B, because he's going to have to hit a shot.
Zeus is into the side with a type 6-3, hoping to get that single tap fire. Here's the cross to try to help get. Peg's going to get damaged. He should be dead. That's what you needed a few rounds ago. Post plant 4v4.
Is there going to be a long flank on the way from Wind? No, instead he's going to try to reinforce from the front. He's actually making sure there's no one lurking. So this is all about what these three Wolves members can do from the front. Good tags come through, but not able to connect his sounds for the final shot needed. Time ticking, 23 seconds of the clock. Trade still occurring. Wolves have numbers. Can Wind get into the mix, though? No, shut down. And how about it? It's just down to Zai. 1v2 situation. As Foki's trying to dance, trying to play the clock, trying to use his best possible ally, but misses the first 1v1, and Wolves have plenty of time to defuse.
Ample time to try to do it. Yeah, they wonderfully retook there from Wolves just to try to isolate the player off of Peg's information from the PKM swing over by Tires, where the location was set up. Also just the knowledge to understand where the Odin spam can come through. You get the information in the tags. You know he's not lurking inside of the cubby anymore, so it mostly has to be onto the backside of the B bomb site. Where they were down in numbers, they were never down in moral, I'll tell you that much. Wolves, wonderful retake, and their lead is back to 3.
Huge nade spam here for Gallerus over the top at A. This is another unique look for them. Problem is, there has been a response for everything from Wolves. And now you've got an aggressive play from Sounds also coming around the back. So even though Lucas is able to find 2, he is isolated and needs to continue to hit if there's going to be a chance at recovering this bomb and even finding any sort of success in the round. And as he loses Zeus, there's nowhere for Lucas to go. A convincing 5-1 half for Wolves.
That's not looking too good. Again, I mean, when you're spending the opening 3 rounds to try to get the bomb over towards A by any means necessary, that the only round that you find is because Wolves got a little bit too antsy to try to go for the gunfights and almost just silver-plated their way towards giving that Gallerus that first round. Zai through wood. Great centering, knew exactly where Zeus is going to be located at.
This feels like the search and destroy from Wolves from a couple of years ago.
Yes, it does.
But Gallerus, what? Pardon me? That's a shotgun, by the way.
Sluggy.
So now you're down to a 1v3. Pardon the early morning pop-off, but that just blew my mind. And Peg almost does the same. But Gallerus' numbers and aggression works out for their second round.
Yeah. Wonderfully done there for Mihawk again. I'm going to keep shouting about it. He was the R9-0 player for this team last season, a real impactful player when it came down to these explosive moments. We saw it on offense. He makes the green light happen himself just to take that shell. And he walks away with a handful of eliminations, getting numbers for Gallerus. Zeus can't get first blood at this time around. Aware of it, he gets the nade. He wasn't expecting Wind to be there, but he'll take the kill.
Couple attacks towards King actually push him off top wood. Then that mid smoke is from the defense. This is, again, going to have Wolves playing patient, making sure no one's doing what Gallerus did last time, which was push up and get into wood. So do Wolves have a protocol built to re-clear, or do they just avoid it completely and try to take numbers? Yeah, down A. Trophy Systems are more for trailer than they are the A sites. Those nades will clear off that back barrel. And you still have King watching across as the defense tries to manipulate their positioning.
PKM shots through the smoke, just hoping to catch any sort of tags through American. All the players here for Gallerus that are still alive are just barreling their way inside a trailer, and it's in towards the bullet hose that's being set up by Wolves. But they still find the trade 2v2.
Good patience from Wolves. King still trying to see if he can catch any information. He does see a member just outside the trailer window. How do you try to isolate to get this 2v1 situation? Spam shots is the call for it. And it does look like that member of Mihawk was hit by that. So again, extra confirmation, and this is an interesting call. You've got mid-map open. You're trying to keep focus on Zai, and now you have a 1v1 over the top, which Zai does not need the help. 6-2 the count.
That's a little bit of an egregious challenge in my opinion. Either with the bomb being planted, play the corners, play for trailer, because you do with the time being whittled down. There's realistically only one bomb site that they could potentially find, but maybe some nerves coming through, not knowing where King was located at. Gives Zai the 11th kill. And now up to map point for Wolves to take a 2-0 lead.
Quickly, 2 out that. Peg gets caught. Sounds response. Again, lots of early action through the middle of the map, and the one player who has snuck through is Mihawk for now, but he's on an island, and he will get punished. So again, Wolves, really good corrections, understanding what Gallerus are trying to do in this defense, and the Brazilians are split now as we go into the 2v2.
Zeus, Lucasen gonna almost combine forces here around 10. All right, here we go. Retake. Double sniper over towards B just to get here before the space is taken away. And what a read and what an angle being held now 1v1.
Zai on one side, Zeus on the other. Both players see each other, and Zai hits the dirt, doesn't miss a shot, and now Wolves find themselves up comfortably 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I'd say comfortably, because again, you go through, they only lost 5 rounds on firing range yesterday versus both Animus and New Gen Ninjas, and they'll continue on such a streak here with a 7-2 win versus Gallerus. But it's mostly just the offensive rounds. I mean, Gallerus just really struggling to try to find their way forward, and even on the defensive side, just trying to brute force their way through a lot of these different spaces to be able to find positional advantage any way they could possibly do. All of Wolves were just utterly prepared through all of their understanding of playing this time and time again in their own region. Spam shots, nades, get the information, deny the space to go forward. And Gallerus, I mean, they just completely lost themselves every single time they were losing members of the First Blood. Foki finishes on the goose egg, doesn't exactly help things out, but I mean, this is as fundamentally sound of a firing range search and destroy out of Wolves as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and just to kind of reflect on to yesterday, the search and destroy for Gallerus against Q9 was not great. A 1-7 tally when they played Kurahana.
Correct.
That, I believe, was their veto today, but it's just tough to go up against a region that plays way more search and destroy than any other, and has the flexibility to move between maps.
Yep.
And yes, again, the big storyline when you look at kind of the setup into today is that, yeah, in the region and in CDM, Wolves were not a great search and destroy team, but they're still coming out of the best search and destroy region. And look at the new guy in 6-4 from King with a couple of pivotal snipes, but everyone's, you know, we heard it again at the top of the show, they're labeled GOAT of COD Mobile right now. Zai gets 15.
Yep. And he also had an amazing performance there in that map number 1 of Combine as well. Very impactful player is Zai. Put him in the clutch. He will try to turn it into something. Yeah, the new guy King doing well, 6-4. They've been doing it for quite some time, man. Wonderful snipes coming out from him. And just overall, just good cohesion, I would say that much out of Wolves. I mean, the ebb and flow that they're able to find on a map like Firing Range to understand when Mihawk is trying to hit these flanks, get these timings for themselves. It's not just one player trying to deal with it. You can actually see the full-fledged force. So that adaptation will lead them to a 2-0 lead in the series, which is not a good sign for Gallerus,
no.
Especially as we are setting ourselves up for the crossfire control. And you're back to scratching your brain here, Alan. How do we get here?
Mistakes.
Oh, man. Oh, okay.
It's just like, it's always a tough conversation because on one foot, you're sitting there saying there's a lot of VOD on Wolves playing this map if you've done your homework, which we know that Gallerus is going to sit down and do their homework. It just feels like such a miss when takeoff is right there for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Wolves are not bad at any control map, but they beat the absolute chimneys off of teams when they play Crossfire.
Yesterday versus New Gen Ninjas, it only went round 5 in both of their control maps.
And they were down 0-2 in that. They just,
exactly.
Turned up.
And then immediately flipped the pressure for a reverse 3-0 in the control. Like, this is just the respawn demons that you're going to be expecting from the Chinese region out of Wolves. So they're explosive, but they work really well together, and their team shots are absolutely fantastic. Not to mention the operator uses that we got from that map number 1, if you want to add something else.
Yeah, I also just feel like comparing Takeoff to Crossfire, you want a map where Foki and Mihawk can be a little bit more free.
Sure.
I just don't feel like you get that in Crossfire.
No.
Like, especially I'm thinking about that from the offensive side. To even get across the middle of the map is difficult in the first place. But then even when you do get either towards that cafe area on the right side of the map from the offensive side or up towards kind of that broken building, you're stuck there. Like, that's it. Like, you're playing your life in that environment, and it just doesn't really feel like you're able to really rely on the same kind of pressure that you would get from Lucas on a map like Takeoff. So I hate to make it sound like, you know, give your best player the ball, but give your best player the ball when he's putting up, 46 points a game. You
give Curry the rock.
And 10 assists with 13 rebounds.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting, too, because like Crossfire, as the maps that we do have in the control mode, is the least offensive converted map, hands down. It's over there, the bus stop, like you were talking about, over by Cafe, just trying to get an SMG in that position to maintain life advantage just across the map. We'll have to see if any of these two teams can crack the code. Wolves on offense first.
Yep, good smoke in the middle of the map. Has Wolves already kind of stretching across. Mihawk, whoa, he's able to kind of use the Spidey sense to turn and find one. That clears off any potential threat towards the B zone, but Wolves have stopped some spawn pressure and still have a couple of members alive over towards the A side of the map. That first tick of progress looking pretty good for now. And it will lock. So this little double setup, it's a bit odd to see because you've got defensive players around the area of the zone, but they don't find the angles, and that's going to be 60 seconds for free.
Double HSO shotgun, really powerful stuff if you're able to work in tandem with one another. Two trades do come through for Gallerus. That's extra 60 seconds, but about to be coming their way. You don't want to be throwing away more lives as you try to contest this.
You need to get forward beyond this B point, so you cannot just allow Wolves to be hanging around over towards now the prior captured A zone. Nade drops on in. I think King is aware that there is a player nearby. It's Mihawk. Can't get the better of him. Zai trying to do some paper mache wall working. Not going to work out as Gallerus will respond nicely and now build a bit of a life lead as they move back up across the back.
17v15 now, able to nullify that life disadvantage. And there's that space that you wanted now, and provided over by the already captured A control zone. Mihawk's going to be the player to try to take more space away, but egregiously will get taken down. So Wolves gonna start working through this map, the already captured A zone. The smoke comes through to try to cover their cross to get inside of Delhi where Zeus is already located at.
And watch the playthrough broken here. They have an opportunity to move up and really funnel this defense across and around the top side of the map, which is not what you want to try to defend this zone. 11 plays 8. Wolves have been clean in this next set of lives, and now they get forward in towards the bus stop and beyond it. The scaling deep is not what you want to see if you're a Gallerus fan. Uh-oh, not good. Lucasen does connect onto 2. That keeps safe the play on the back side of the zone, but only down to 4 lives. They have to be perfect.
Well, I mean, plenty of time to play TDM here, Alan. Zeus, Lucasen gonna be able to find a couple of kills. Now no response remaining for Wolves. The trade department, and even soon afterwards, that much better for Gallerus. They're holding on.
4v4. Hen Sparrow could be just outlasted if Wolves get a read and wait, but wow, a huge threading of the needle up top. Not gonna get the next, but it was close. 2v4, King, Scope, Tempest at the ready. Need to connect somewhere first though.
And you'd like to imagine you're gonna hold on to this going in towards the next one. 20 seconds remaining. And now Gallerus are not going to give you an inch on where they could potentially be located at. Lucasen's going to go for the challenge, takes down Sounds, last alive would be King, and although it would be a heroic montage, yeah, you like to think the flank is going to be coming through. So Gallerus going to hold on with 3 extra lives. The only ticks that were captured was at the A control zone, which was massive to shut down that rotation because those HSO shotgun in tandem was looking rather ferocious.
That was a huge save from Lucasen because it got to a point where one more kill for Wolves comes through. They're in your back line, spawn trapping you on really both sides of the map. But now Gallerus committing their early operators to try to get over and through the middle of the map. And honestly, relatively evenly traded. Wolves have not committed ops of their own, so far, shutting down things like the War Machine and Outlast the Death Machine is pretty good news for the defense.
It's going to cause a lot of time to just be bled off the clock as this Death Machine doesn't find much of anything at all. Gallerus trying to move all the way over towards Broken, and it's a really good call to try to go for the more difficult of the 2 zones to capture first. Maybe catch Wolves a little bit off guard. They don't really fall for much of anything afterwards. There's a couple good cleanup kills do come through soon afterwards. And now Gallerus are forced to go back to the old tried and true. Get back over towards his A control zone. Just got to try to clear this building because Peg is waiting for the call. Hello?
Oh.
What am I stepping on?
What am I stuck on? Oh, it's a person. Ah, that's the way that goes. Second tick of progress at A is locked. Doesn't look like Wolves are going to have a chance to contest this as they need to deal with an imminent threat. Yeah, in the bus stop in particular, Zeus is found and dealt with. And this Sparrow from Wind is a little...
untimely?
Yeah. At least Wolves are able to keep the backline safe through Broken. But Gallerus could just wait for the Sparrow to fade away.
Yep. This has a big operator just completely fall by the wayside that you might need to get over towards this B-zone defense because Gallerus are starting to get a lot of space forward. Peg, though, getting activated with the shotgun. And a 1v1 versus Mihawk, and the HSO shotguns are all over the kill feed right now. Foki, he's gonna rip out the Tempest. He gets swiftly dealt with. And what a life advantage was there for Gallerus and space being provided for them, completely snuffed out.
Trades over at the front of bus, has Gallerus continuing to work through A. Trying to get into Broken, but Wolves have, yep, the right response set up for it if they do get tested. How do you break through if you're Gallerus? Tempest is at the ready for Lucas in, but Wolves continue to not have to commit any operators to this defensive effort, up 5 lives, and down to 43 seconds on the clock.
And Mihawk just getting tons of information. He throws a shoulder. Now he knows that someone's honestly up there. And now Hen goes for the chow. Mihawk still throwing shoulders for the information. Wind trying to cause a ruckus down low. And he's able to walk away with 2. So now you can get a little bit more space forward if you are Wolves. Just to try to deny any sort of B antics. But there is one player that slipped the net.
Have to find something off of that one player as well. Luke is in Annihilator in hand, so I misspoke. Pardon me. War Machine out for sounds. But Wind, yep, behind that War Machine could just play forward, and that should likely put this round a bit more out of question. So we'll get tied up at 1 here. And I don't know, I mean, do you want to do much comparing and contrasting between the first 2 rounds and say who's got an advantage, or you just want to keep watching?
Well, it's the life advantage, right? Because each 2 teams already only captured one of the 2 zones. This is the Crossfire E-Classico, isn't it? Like, where you can only capture the one of the 2 zones that is more applicable to try to assault. But it comes down to the lives if all the segments are just dead even towards the end of it. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that with the 3 remaining for Gallerus previous round. And then going in towards the, what was it, 11, almost 10 for Wolves. So it is their lead currently as they're back over towards the offensive side.
Trades are even for now. Wolves are still holding on to a couple of key operators. Keep that in mind. So now that they've gotten back on towards this A zone with some conviction, those are the power weapons they could possibly use to get influence back over towards this more difficult B zone. I will say for Gallerus, though, keeping this member up top and Foki could be pivotal. Okay, well, could be. They tried to swallow. Okay, so they're trying to pinch it with Mihawk, and Mihawk actually just gets a 1v2, has the Death Machine out, but they lose the A zone. Can't quite stay on to contest. So now it's just down to, can you push forward, put the pressure on Wolves from their spawn, and they're doing it.
And then once the DM runs out of bullets, Mihawk can take his HSO shotgun and maybe get inside of this broken building where you already had 1 player of Sounds located at. Hen now pulls out the Sparrow. Great transition from all the operators, but they come up just a little bit short on the exit. 3 quick kills come through for Wolves. They're getting more space. They're finding the kills in the feed, but then the immediate trades for Gallerus with the superior power advantage.
Life count, once again, starting to be pulled back just a little bit. 3 lives down are Wolves, but Annihilator out now. And Zai's going to use that to try to clean things up past A, and he does that well. Where else do you go? Because you got 2 players over through Delhi that are trying to make their way up towards the bus stop now.
Whoa! Goat, by the way, everybody's saying.
Okay, now we can start to get frisky as he's got an angle towards the Gallerus spawn. Smoke will keep him alive and safe from the pinch through Broken. Life lead now for Wolves, 9v7, but Gallerus have reestablished some control around bus.
The operator's being pulled. Zeus takes his own life there with the War Machine. So it's immediate response coming through now for Wolves. King has got the Tempest. Death Machine out as well for Peg as he is just lighting them up as the first segment's getting worked on B.
Looking good here for Wolves to put this one over the finish line. Clock stalls at minute 5. Foki has to pull Tempest and isn't able to do too much with it. Huge advantage now for Wolves as they find themselves on series point.
Yep. I mean, segment advantage doesn't really mean much of anything if you're able to convert an offense, and that's what I was beckoning for going in towards this map number 3. So difficult to try to convert, but you're hoping for the one Herculean play to come through, and that Herculean play is by everybody's voted GOAT of Zai. What an Annihilator pull. He's up to 23 eliminations. Now Gallerus got to respond with an offense of their own.
First 2 kills are good for Gallerus. Get them quickly across the middle of the map. And, ooh, I was about to say, maybe an opportunity to stop the clock early, but, HS things. Quick kills for Wolves, have the defense. Feeling quite feisty as Peg is just playing outside the zone. He's going to use that as kind of his alarm system. One, he needs to keep his focus on the zone itself. Here comes the play forward. It's shotgun versus sniper. And a little bit of help starting to come through. Whoa, Peg somehow doesn't hit that one in the corner. Help nearby as Wolves will gain control of the double stairs, and that will be enough for Peg to eventually connect, but not twice, as Gallerus continue to keep the defense moving.
Second segment, not fully locked in either. Gallerus, to your point there, able to convert the kills and continue to keep their feet moving forward to try to get inside of the bus stop and maybe try to convert a couple segments over at B to try to put the pressure on Wolves, but it doesn't really work out in their favor. Instead of just getting the extra 60 seconds, they throw so many lives away, Alan, and now they put themselves in even in a worse situation, but they're able to turn this into something beautiful.
Yeah,
put themselves back inside of the bus stop and maybe try to find something with Hen Sparrow.
And what I was trying to say is, like, they're keeping the defense mobile. Like, they're moving Wolves between both zones, and that is actually leading to an opportunity here to kind of keep Wolves a little bit more limited in their scope defensively. Follow up here for Fokies. He's able to get deep towards Shops. Zai understanding the threat, but Gallerus are ripping apart the spawn. Mihawk's Death Machine clears out Broken. And now you've got a chance here to not just get more progress done at B, you could possibly finish this zone, but King's able to hit a snipe, Sounds is able to find connection with the War Machine, and the life lead is still in favor of the defenders.
And they know the Lucason's operator, the Annihilator, is still lurking over at B, so they take the lesser of the two evils and try to work their way back to the middle of the map. Third segment of the day is going to get captured. You still have players for Gallerus lurking inside of the bus station. Second segment locked. Just 90 seconds left to play, and Gallerus are in prime position to respond with an offense.
Big moment here for Win. Comes around the corner for one. Not able to connect onto the second. The pistol out is able to reduce this down to a 5v4. But now it's just down to can Gallerus get on the zone to finish the capture, and they do. Last second, they get in, they find the kills they need in low numbers situation, and we're going round 5.
And with that conversion on the offense via the segments being captured, that should give Gallerus the defensive favor going in towards this, and they absolutely got it. So where it's already difficult enough to close out a single offense, now Wolves got to do it twice to close out the 3-0, but Gallerus are fighting.
Can you slow down this Wolves team? They're trying to do it early. But Peg, doesn't connect. I don't know if the railing blocks the shot or not, but Gallerus had been pushed back for a moment with operators out. They're able to at least somewhat stabilize, but not enough to stop Wolves from getting the first tick, maybe even a second here at A. Lucasson trying to find some success through the middle of the map. Problem is, Broken's becoming a bit of an issue. And that zone of control will likely allow Wolves to get the extra 60, but pause, you've got Foki on a flank with the Tempest, but he misses, and Wolves are gonna get the extra minute.
Any barring last bit heroics from Mihawk won't be the case. Yeah, and even the exit eliminations too. This is what plagued Gallerus in the last offense, or the last defense that they did lose, excuse me. But this time around, they're just keeping their positional advantage. Look at where Hen's located at. This is a good crossfire to keep for yourself. Pun absolutely intended. And they're going to be able to find them upon the exit. Zeus for 2. Foki on the last player. Just one more remaining around this broken building. But all the space provided for Gallerus to lock down these lanes.
Trades are even. Lucasson. Is this a sniper or is it an SMG? He could use it as either. But Wolves are stabilizing. They're pushing back the defensive force. That's trying to make its way over towards the Wolves side of the map. Peg still playing on the A stairs. Good for 1. Sparrow is out right now for Hen, but has not been able to do much besides just slow down Wolves from moving across this position on the previously captured A zone.
Just hoping for something of these nades. The smokes are going to be dissipating here in a moment. Somebody's got to try to work their way a little bit further forward. Already got inside the parallel broken building. Now all Wolves are in a good enough position. Here comes the smokes right over the top. The execute soon after.
Zeus is able to stop at least one member from the Wolves from getting over. So Peg, he's going to have to try to thread the needle, and he gets shut down. Oh, Wind also loses the equalizers. Advantage now to Gallerus as they've completely wiped off this attempt from Wolves. War Machine out for South, but he's by himself. just trying to play his own life, and he doesn't have an angle. So now you've got Gallerus really starting to heat things up. 13 plays, 9. Still plenty of time for Wolves to reform, but a massive advantage for Gallerus.
Wolves went round 5 every single
Where are we
they
going?
played yesterday. They get back here again, but this is not looking much better whatsoever until that moment in time. Gallerus throwing lives away. Mihawk has the death machine out, trying to find more than the 32 eliminations he already has in his rally. 9v8 with 20 seconds remaining. Wolves still have a shot.
This could be a breakdown, though. Why are we pushing forward? We have Deli, we had the previously captured A-Zone, and we had Operators, and now Wolves are starting to come back! Oh, it's a massive breakdown! Can Gallerus hold strong? Tough 1v1! That's Zai hit X with the Annihilator! Oh, but Lucasen responds with one of his own. 6v4, 3 seconds. Wolves did he get on to stop the clock. Foki stops the initial, and Mihawk there for the follow-up! Gallerus able to bleed the clock dry and take the control.
Gallerus here fighting. Vamos rings through the area as they are not done yet, forcing out their map pick for the Hacienda. But what absolute grit was showcased in that offense they needed to respond with. And where the Annihilator for Zai was amazing, and it converted the initial offense that we got to see. Lucasen being able to pull his Annihilator out and just lurking inside a bus, even not finding all the kills, it was the pressure that continuously forced all of Wolves into these very narrow choke points where Mihawk was constantly lurking at, where he was constantly trying to play routes around all these different broken buildings, and that was continuously coming through there in that last defense as well. Wonderfully executed. When they were asked to stand up, they absolutely did with that offense to force a round 5 defense. Best position that they could possibly have put themselves in for Gallerus to stay alive in the best of 5.
Unreal. I'm telling you though, Andy, I was about to kick the desk over.
That'd be a strong kick.
Yes, but legitimately, as soon as you start to get that pushback and Gallerus start to make a move to go even further, we got to hold off, you know, a little bit. You know, we're not.
Well, like tempered.
Yeah. We're not playing street gaming here. We're playing Wolves. Like we got to lock in.
Yeah, the punish game for Wolves has always been amazing, and we're very aware of that.
Yeah.
Our world champions at the end of the day that are still represented on that squad of Wolves, and you know that they've been able to do it all year long at CDM. You just don't want to give them that inch because they will turn it into a Chinese-sized Walmart. So.
Yeah.
In the final few moments with Peg with that death machine, thought it was going to be the square peg into the round hole potentially, but not going to be the case at all. 33 and 25 out from Zai, and albeit with the Annihilator heroics, wasn't enough to close it out in 4 rounds. But Mihawk is having himself a great series. The amount of engagements this kid is getting into is absurd. 55 of them here.
He's been, I would say, over the last 2.5 years,
really stepped up, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
As much as the storyline and the spotlight continues to be on Lucasen and his ability to just blow the competition out of the water, Mihawk has really been the reason why the Brazilian teams that he's been on have found success. So.
Sure.
Great stuff there. And this now resets the entire mentality around this series because now you're going to a Hacienda Hardpoint, a map that Wolves have really avoided like the plague in CDM. They only played it twice. They split the difference on it. Gallerus, bigger maps, more wide open, can play more of a macro style game.
Correct.
And slow down this Wolves team, try to play for spawns maybe a little bit more loosely. And then you look at Coastal, which to be fair is Wolves map selection, but has not been necessarily their greatest map overall in Search. It's also not their most played map in Search. So there's an opportunity here to set up the narrative for a reverse sweep.
Either vetoed or not played yesterday throughout the entirety of the tournament thus far. Gallerus has not played the Hacienda, but like you were saying, I mean, this is a fever dream for them. You know, the Apocalypse obviously getting taken away from Wolves, completely and utterly understanding of what their MO is going to be. Like you were talking about, Alan, get the Odin, get the Type 6 3s in these powerful positions, get Mihawk activated with Foki across the entirety of the map. That is exactly the recipe for success and what the doctor may have ordered. But this is what we were talking about. You just need to try to take one of these 1 through 3 maps. I didn't think it was going to be the control, to be honest with you, but doing so completely changes the architecture for this best of 5. Like you were saying, the Hacienda right being there, fantastic map mode combination for them all regionally. And what we got to see from the Combine Hardpoint map number 1, Gallerus will not back down from the Respawn Demons that are Wolves.
No. This is a fresh series, I think, if you're Gallerus right now.
Oh, yeah. That pop-off was immense. They are so locked in now.
It's going to feel very fresh. So fresh and so clean. See what we get. I would love to see another moment where we just get Zai versus Lucas, and like we did with the double annihilators right there at the end.
Yeah,
I would love that. That is cinema.
Okay, I mean, we were already eating so good throughout the entirety of this best of 5. Kind of slowed down. I ran out of space on my plate there on the firing range, search and destroy. But man, yeah, give me more of that. I mean, the battling death machines, Mihawk with the HSO shotgun versus Peg getting activated on the map too. Man, we got everything that could be a possibility coming your way here for this map number 4 on Hacienda. It is a classic map here for us as COD fans, but even more so, it is a home away from home when it comes down to this Gallerist roster. They have found so much success on maps such as this.
This is Gallerist's map selection, and Wolves decided to start blue?
Hardpoint identified.
Yes.
Okay.
Choices are made.
Grenade out.
Here we go. I'm sure Gallerist is in like, all right, sick, thanks. Opening first blood will go the way of Gallerist. They're also winning window control right now. That is chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss from Gallerist. Now they can hold on to the high ground, try to get a read on Peg, who's trying to make a route over towards top side of the map. And well, that's actually well won for the first, but can't get the second. Zeus able to respond. And now you have an opportunity to try to follow up here as we try to reset, and Gallerist will have to try to set themselves up through the middle of the map.
Starting on blue side, not too bad, is it?
I guess.
Able to push their way.
Well, you know what? I am totally blasted. CDL map is flipped.
It is flipped. I was letting you get there at the end.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was going to let you get there.
Ignore me.
I'm just happy that I got to live it with you. That was a fantastic day. So, able to get the spawns for Wolves. Now they are on the preferred side, so that way they can set themselves up for this P2 rotation. Peg down low in the atrium of the mansion. Gonna be able to walk away with a handful of kills. You also got Rock Control, a fantastic transition out of Wolves.
I was sitting like, why does the map look so weird? I'm okay, I promise. We're locking in. Wolves with the advantage as we head over to P2, but lobby control and well spawns now for Gallerist. I'm locked, I'm in there now. Red Missile will slow things down a touch and of course get the, you know, the UAV essential elements of the information, and Wolves will set themselves up to deal with the driveway hit.
And now they can just lock in around Lambo, so that way they can watch the open staircase push. You already got one player doing it. Sai, he goes 1 for 1, so they know that one player is still going to be here on the flank. But you still got these well spawns coming through from Gallerist. A little bit of a spawn trap, maybe. A couple players do spawn out over by P4, but I mean, you couldn't have asked for a more successful transition and an even more successful hard point, as an EMP for Peg has already been earned.
Yeah, he's been great. And again, you know, I know there's been a lot of conversation. We've talked about it a lot as the talent team, but also talking to the players. You know, what would King bring to the table in place of Rise, who has been one of the best players for Wolves across CDM? He has been everything you need. And, you know, I think that's the other side as we're continuing to watch Wolves just dominate the map right now. We see this across every form of competitive Call of Duty. When the system is this good for Wolves and Respawn, I don't care who you put in that 5th spot, they're going to find a way to find success.
Yeah, I mean, as great as Rise is, literally the most explosive player that's on that roster, it does let the other players step up and fulfill that role. You get to see Sounds really step into his own. Peg also coming back into his championship form, right? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that one. That Wolves system is one that absolutely rocks. Gallerist, though, over towards P3. They at least hang on for the moment. They get the operators to hold, but Wolves still finding the kills on the backside of 10.
And Peg, if he finds one more, has an opportunity to push out this next hit with the equalizers if he can get it, but instead it's going to be the Death Machine. And the back line from Zai just kind of throwing out absolute mayhem towards fences. Responded, though, nicely. Gallerist have done well here. They win that out technically by operator to operator value, and now can find a little bit more time in the scrap of P3 before we head over to 4. Problem is they're going to be a little bit late. You're going to get a 1v1 between Mihawk and Sounds by the look of it, but Sounds will be found for free, and Gallerist will actually get themselves pretty decent opportunity to play from office side over to P4.
Exel sitting on that EMP, by the way, didn't end up getting himself in a position to try to rip it, to shut down any of those operators that Gallerist were able to pull. But now Peg has the equalizers out. 21 eliminations, and P4 has just popped. This guy is just going absolute sicko mode right now. To the top side of office, nobody expecting the flank to come through as quickly as it did, because equalizers and Wolves are right back to where they were in the opening first 3
All right, if you're Gallerist right now, you need to understand that this first rotation was won by EMP levels of earning from Peg. Take a breath. It's going to be a minute before you can really dig into this deficit. You got to go little by little, step by step.
But it's not that bad considering. 24 eliminations, like he's running away with, but you're only down by 40. If you can somehow convert what was the biggest mishap in the first set of hard points, was that P2 situation.
Yeah.
This is a much different game, and it is backed by 24 eliminations, but they should be aware, hey, we haven't been hit by this EMP yet. That's the scary part that Wolves are saving in their back pocket, so that way they can try to truly snowball this upcoming second set. But 30-point differential is not terrible given the stat line that Peg has.
Agreed. I think you're right, though. That's what I was looking at, is like, I imagine Peg is going to use this right before P2 opens.
Yes.
And give Wolves an opportunity to try to play for that, again, that big money hill at Lambeau.
Yeah.
Wolves doing a little bit better off the exit from the most recent hard point over to P1. Have the lead back up to 40. Gallerus trying to accrue some of that operator usage that they're going to need if they want to try to fight this thing back. Zeus and Foki do a nice job of neutralizing the time on the hill itself. King, nice snap and reaction as he finds himself on 4 in a row. And Peg and the rest of Wolves can continue to just play through the middle of the map and stack the hill.
Peg went able to find 2 on transition. Watch player number 3, that is Zai. He's getting activated all the way through Secret. He already goes. He finds at least 1 player off guard, but he gets snuffed out. So that trade does come through, but still some decent amount of time coming through from Wolves here on this one. They're going to be able to get themselves an elimination inside of the Atrium, and they have hallway control. The only player that's still lurking around is Lucas. He already rips out the Tempest just to try to meet them at the gate. Expecting a water chow from Zai. It comes through, and Peg dies too. So you don't have the EMP available. A great call coming from Gallerus.
Well, Spawns, but Gallerus are aware of this. Can they stop the play from the front? There's the EMP combined with the War Machine. Gallerus deal with it nicely, though. Wow. Massive moment in this game for Gallerus. Spawn starting to move just a touch, but Gallerus are going to bunker down on the hard point. Zeus still with the War Machine out. No operators right now for Wolves until the Tempest gets pulled, but Mihawk coming back late to the party, has a Death Machine, and is absolutely finding success with it. Long range, able to connect. Now getting a read on the Spawns, and Gallerus have not dropped a second inside of P2.
Almost felt like we're ripping the EMP just to execute the plan, but it was so mistimed that, like you were saying, Gallerus just kind of like back up a little bit, reintroduce themselves with the operators after the EMP goes away, and they're able to walk away, to your point, the majority of this time. What was a 50-point deficit, now down to 20. Wolves, though, completely aware of the situation. They get those well spawns, a couple wave of gunfights come through, and they're like, okay, hold on 1 second. Let's just go ahead and play for the rotation towards New. It is a fresh game. They got 3 operators at the ready, but Luxin might rip this Predator missile just to get the intro.
Especially with number 4 in the back. Yep, there we go. Pred missile in. Wynn's going to pull out the Sparrow, stay safe inside of 10. 10 going to respond with one of his own. Good information here, trying to get it into the back lines, but cannot connect. Wolves able to respond with numbers now of their own. Spawns not fully locked, but you've got Sounds watching this initially tough battle around the back. It doesn't come through, and Gallerus at the same time find a couple of kills from the front, leaving Wynn by himself, but that's apparently all you need. Unreal stuff. Equalizer, though, for Foki. Cracks back through, and an opportunity with Gallerus for numbers to continue to push forward.
You know, Foki hasn't had the sexiest KD ratio throughout the entirety of this series thus far, Alan, but he actually found a massive 1v1 in towards the back, and then the equalizer should have been the real go-ahead and real walk away with the majority of time here on P3, but Wolves just completely put them back into the ground. They're walking away with a good chunk of time. They're playing for the trades, and they're able to at least maintain this lead. But Gallerus, they're sitting here still chipping away at it, and Wolves got to be aware, but we got to get back to some fundamental hard point. Remember those 24 eliminations that Peg started with? He slowed down ever so slightly.
Does have the equalizers out, though, as Wolves will be the first team to open up P4. A little bit of confusion, though. Wolves not really reading where exactly Gallerus are. They've got the equalizers playing over towards P2, but Gallerus are spawning off this side, so now Peg has to run his way back over as the channel on the equalizers expires.
Oh, wow.
So now it's just down to, can you respond to the hit in towards mid? Luke is in for 1. Sounds right there in the longer corner, and King watches over the top of Rock, and this has been clean so far from Wolves.
Double chow bait and switch, a little bit mistimed there for Gallerus on the initial when it comes down to breaking P4. Very, very difficult to do. And now you got the Death Machine from Zion towards the back, trying to deal with these players down low inside the office. Does get traded. Hallway control coming through now for Mihawk. Zeus also able to appear, but the hard point's just too far gone at this point. Maybe find any lick of the back 10 seconds, but Wolves right back into that 60-point lead.
Yeah, you just need to keep Wolves from stringing scrap to initial here from 4-1. And Mihawk will eventually get back into P4 and clean up some of these Wolves members. Can't deal with Zai at range though. But that exit, like we talked about, gives Gallerus a chance to win the high ground until the War Machine gets popped. It's a bold call, but it works out nicely, and Wolves are going to get past the 200-point mark.
Backwell spawns here, coming through for Gallerus. Not exactly the happiest place to be when you're seeing in sound still has the War Machine, finds the grenade to go through. But still, like you were saying, yeah, gets shut down. So Gallerus have an opportunity to move their way further forward, but they would love to try to get some time here on P1. Wolves are already over the double century mark, and Gallerus effectively need to play this as sound as possible. Who sounds, by the way, Predator Missile gets called in, stops that push dead in its tracks. Wolves in prime position to close out this map.
Looking good for it. P2 side of the map, though, still in possession of Gallerus as we get underneath 20 seconds on the first hill. Wolves working on it, or at least attempting to move past the fountain, but Gallerus find a string of kills. They're going to get a little bit of time here in the back 10, and also send a couple of members to get over to Lambeau early. They also have well spawns right here, and honestly, there's an opportunity here to just shut down the bottom side of the map and force Gallerus, or force Wolves to play over and up through well and lobby, which is not really where you want to be hitting this P2 from. There's an opportunity here. Hold on a second. You've got a Sparrow out for Hen trying to play forward at tiles, but he gets shut down as a Pred Missile lands on top of his forehead. Spawns are still mixy on the back of P2, but Gallerus are reading it and finding the kills they need.
Lucasen has the Tempest. That's enough threat for anybody to try to march their way up through this drive wave, which is already smoked out. Mihawk has more space forward. Foki off the nade is able to find the third. Just 2 more players remaining in Wind Sparrow, albeit finding one. Does get shut down in return. Gallerus are still here. 30 seconds left to fight over, and they got to find a swift break.
Foki falls. He was a single elimination away from getting equalizers, but as he drops, Wolves will stabilize and surround the hard point. And now it's desperation time for Gallerus. No operators at the ready. Death Machine for Wolves, trying to defend the hill and put this one well out of reach. Not enough time to win here on P2, but boy, can they get close.
Oh yeah, and they know that they all of Gallerus are still spawning on the backside of driveway over towards well. Gallerus have to hit through the old time and then also win the rotation, which they haven't been able to do all hardpoint long, if I'm being honest with you. But this is where things are going to be scary. Foki's the only one with an operator at the ready, and this equalizer needs to pop.
Hen will be the first one over defenses. Wolves will realize they're not spawning close. They're trying to value their lives. Sounds able to connect twice with the War Machine out of nowhere.
Trophies.
And now you've got Wolves in a chance to just surround, envelop, and hit this all at once. Like you mentioned, no operators for Gallerus. They just have to stay alive inside the hardpoint. But if you wanted to have one member alive and kicking, it's this guy. Lucasen, already close to another Tempest as he has been unbelievable in the stretch the last 90 seconds or so, but can't turn that into more as Wind will get a double nade over the top plus a third. Zeus desperately trying to hang out with the War Machine, will find a double of his own, and you got a split spawn situation as Gallerus are able to surround.
If you're gonna have Sounds, he's gonna see one more player there for Gallerus right in front of him. Just 5 seconds remaining, and Wolves can close it out here.
Numbers advantage to Wolves. Zeus saved by Lucasen for a moment, but cannot find the final kill needed as he gets the reload. Last couple of seconds. Peg holding down the front with the equalizers. One more contested in, and Foki, as he falls, will have Wolves in a position to clean things up right before we get to the next hard point. Wolves take down Gallerus and move forward in the upper bracket.
Yeah, the literal last second within the time there allocated for P3, able to get it in their favor. Wolves win both the hard points here. They split the difference for Hacienda in their region, but they come here looking absolutely ferocious on it. Just the opening from Peg, that excess buffer that they did have really set themselves up for the map number 1. The leader's advantage is what I like to call it, but Gallerus through the middle of that, they survive through the EMP. They fight their way back from a 60-point deficit all the way down to a 20, but then Wolves again lock back in. They are the hardpoint demons of their region at the end of the day, Alan, absolutely dismantling Gallerus at the end.
Incredible stuff from the Wolves as expected. China's top teams are moving forward in the bracket as we predicted, but Gallerus is not done. This is double elimination, and we have seen teams make a run like Tribe did back in 2022. Not an easy road in front of the Brazilians though, Alan.
No, not at all. And I think it's just where they're weakest is being exposed by the Chinese teams right now. I mean, you see it in the Respawn. Wolves, an incredible hardpoint team. They survived through a very difficult map number 1, taking a late stretch to grow that lead to maybe a bigger deficit, or a bigger gap rather, than maybe the game would have insinuated based on how it went. But here in the Hacienda, you had a couple of heroic moments for the side of Gallerist, but it never really truly felt like on a structured level they were playing at the same level as Wolves on the other side, and that's not something that just exists against Wolves. We saw it also exist yesterday versus Q9.
As we take a look at a lot of these highlights, we'll be talking operators in depth in a little bit, but can we focus in on the shotgun? Is the shotgun meta back? Is the HSO a thing to look out for? Because every time we went to Windy, he's getting a double, a triple kill with this thing.
I never left. What are you talking about? We just traded the R90 out for the HSO meta, and yeah, you're going to be seeing quite a bit of that. You got the double shotgun meta there on the Crossfire, comes back through as an explosive entity to be used, closing out a lot of these close corridors around P2, all the way through the upper hallways as well. It is a force to be reckoned with, Chris.
And then, of course, the War Machine shutting things down on the final 2 hills. Sparrow's coming into play as well. If you're looking at just an individual gunny, though, I want to see where did Zai end up on our leaderboard. He finished positive 18 in game 1. He went positive in the second hardpoint. This is finally his first respawn where he goes negative, dropping 36 and 40 with 23 assists, Andy.
Darn. Oh, man, he had a little bit of an off game, and then Peg was the one to step up. That 24 and whatever it was start was absolutely heroic. Sounds there at the end like you were talking about with his War Machine, well placed. The trophy systems from Lukisin just a little bit too late and misplaced meant that he was constantly finding value with it, but we got to talk about the single tap go. He did pop off, man. 52 and 41.
Absolutely. 52 kills was not enough for Lukisin. He's definitely going to be a player to look out for in that elimination bracket, the biggest threat, but the Wolves are the team moving on. If you could crown an MVP from this 4-game performance from the Wolves, who do you think deserves credit, Shift?
I'm going to give it to King, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know Zai, he puts in a massive effort on the search and destroy, but King hit a couple of awesome opening first blood snipes. He also played really well in all of the respawns, so I'm just going to give it to the guy that deserves it. The new guy in, filling into a system that was largely surrounded by Rise in the storyline of him, but King is looking solid and Wolves are looking prime.
We want to remind everybody there are 2 streams live here on day number 2. We have Alpha and Bravo, and over on Bravo, I was watching Street face off against Elevate. Let's take a look at this bracket, because in the top half, it was Elevate coming out of Group A with the top seed. Street was the surprise from Group D. Street was hanging in there. It was about a 2-point game in the hard point. At the end, though, Elevate and Wolves both getting 3-1 victories, meaning Street Gaming will be playing Gallerist. This is 2 Brazilian squads. One of them will knock each other out in the top 8. I guess the good news is you have a top 6 guaranteed for Brazil.
Yeah, but you got to do the TK along the way, right? I mean, like that, and that's what ultimately hurts. I mean, Street had a fantastic performance in the group stage, to your point there, versus TLE yesterday. Going back and looking at the scores as well, like the Herculean performance versus our previous world champions of Elevate Puck. But look, I think that lower bracket matchup is going to be setting things up ever so wonderfully, because Gallerist, they were showing a lot of different plot holes in a lot of different hardpoint situations, something that Street can absolutely pounce on.
Big shout out to all the Chinese fans who made it out to Poland for these matchups. The Wolves move on. We find out, will another Chinese team be able to power through a best of 5? Qingzhou takes the stage when we return.
believe it's in communication because communication is key to like the whole game sections.
For me, communication.
In my opinion, we need to be a mix like skill and communication.
The thing that determines victory the most is communication because it's a team-based game.
For Animus and me, I think it's communication.
Communication is really important, but you can do nothing if you don't have skill.
It will be over-egoing things. You think you're confident, very confident, but it brings you down when you face difficult teams.
The most mistake probably is gonna be don't be ready for the fights in the game. So don't be ready for everything is going like go too fast and they didn't be ready.
Being overconfident sometimes.
Mistakes that less experienced players do is their lack of confidence. Just because when you don't have confidence, you can't do what you do in practices, you can't show your true game.
Aggressive, number one. I'm also passive. Third is unpredictable.
Rushable and flexible.
Calm, aggressive, the same thing. And the last word is gonna be ready.
Me as a coach, I like aggressive play style, doing like a lot of respawn trap, doing transitions between the hard points. Fast, faster, fastest.
What's up guys, AO Raf. So we're currently going to be going through a pro player's loadout. I am personally a sub and heavy player, so I'm a machine gun and shotgun player. But my personal favorite in this meta is probably going to be the VMP. The USS is a great gun, but the VMP takes that throne for #1 spot, honestly. So I'll be showing you guys my personal and everybody's loadouts in the pro player. All right, bandit adjustable, heavy barrel, great attachment to use. Gotta go with the rapid fire, it's crucial. And this one's honestly where a lot of pro players differentiate. I personally like the integrated grip set, but other players do like the Phoenix grip set. It just comes down to how you like to play as a player person. I'd probably go for the integrated grip set though. And then for secondaries, honestly, melees are the best. I feel like pistols are overrated. You know, you gotta go with the gloves, boxing gloves, prize fighters, Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? It's really, really good stuff to use. Down to the operator, I personally am a fan favorite of the equalizers. It's really, really fun, just running gun, Rambo style, really, really great. The 3 perks, gotta go lightweight, you gotta go gun-ho. Toughness is honestly really, really good too, but I believe personally gun-ho would be the best one to go for. The third option for the blue perks, you gotta go with Dead Silence. It's a crucial must-have. Now, obviously in pro players, you know, you gotta use these 3 score streaks. You gotta go EMP, Predator Missile, and Hunter Killer Drone, because obviously everything else is banned. But yeah, honestly, that looks like a great loadout. You know, got the frag grenade. Actually, I'm one of the individual. I'll put you on a secret. I personally like sticky grenades. I think they're low-key, very underrated. Besides that, this is my loadout.
Basically, our best map is everything in the chump set. Our worst map is none.
My best map will be Summit as a shotgun. Shotgun is very powerful in Summit. And my worst map will be Standoff.
My best map probably Hacienda. I really love that map. And my
Welcome back to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships 2025. The playoffs are well and truly underway across here on the A stream and over on the B. We have seen Street and Galeris drop into the lower bracket with Wolves and Elevate continuing on looking strong. Now, who will join them? It is now time to bring out our next 2 teams ready to compete here on the stage. Starting with New Gen Ninjas. Formed literally days before this tournament, enemies became friends to fight for the same cause, putting India on top. Now it's time to welcome their opponents. Qingzhou. Q9 finished second last year. They've returned looking sharper than ever this time around. A lot of people are saying it. This could be the scariest team in the whole bracket. Let's see if they can back it up here on stage.
Thank you very much, Ian Chambers. We got our second match of the day ready to go here in Winners Bracket Round 1, and our teams are ready to take the stage. They have not, of course, locked in their map vetoes yet. We have Brody, AK Infinity, and Chris Tunn at the desk. And gentlemen, I'm fired up for this one because Q9 made it to the grand finals last year, but a 4-0 loss really left that bitter taste in their mouth. A lot of people have been talking about it ever since. This is your tournament for redemption. And if you look at the bracket, everyone in chat is saying they have the easiest road to a grand final.
There's no easy roads in this World Championships. Let's not get it twisted. But they do have a very, very good chance to get themselves there. And they will want, of course, to get that revenge. And, well, that revenge is actually lining itself up quite nicely with Elevate winning their game in their first winners round. It should be interesting, though, for Q9. It's a real redemption arc potentially here in Poland. And can they get it done? We've got a lot of games to get through before we see.
Let's take a look at our rosters. We mentioned Q9 coming out of China is going to be the favorite, but New Gen Ninjas have a stacked roster. This is a team that is going to be representing India, of course, but you've got an American on the lineup. We're going to see what he is able to do in Jez, and then, of course, Marvel has been involved in a lot of the interviews. As we take a look at these teams, though, Infinity, walk me through this New Gen squad. Viper, Warden, Fran, who do you have your eyes on today?
I mean, for this one, it's incredible, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to Viper.
Go ahead and take it for me.
I'll take it. We'll get it figured out. Yeah, no, look, this New Gen Ninjas team, it is very much a last-minute thing, but realistically speaking, it's going to be a difficult task for them. We really didn't know what to see from them, but coming from two very, very solid teams that we really expect would have made runs, they have now amalgamated. They've put themselves together to see what they can do. And we've been chatting to them when we were in the lobby to see how they can really get things going, how they're feeling about their chances. And their attitude towards it is just shoot. Just let's see what we can do. We know how to play this game. And I suppose it's that, I want to say the no pressure attitude. They're coming into this without the necessary pressure that they would have had if they're in other teams. They're going up against one of the favorites. They will be going into this to see if they can do something. And if they do, it will be a surprise to everybody and to themselves.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Brody, you with me?
Yeah, they tried to silence me, and well, now I'm back.
I don't hear myself either. It's all good.
I don't.
I hope the internet hears us, though, and we can see this is the squad. The tall man there, that is Marvel. But if you heard his interview, he said Viper, the player to watch. Viper, the man who went on a 4K to seal their spot in this winner's bracket. Is he going to be the star to look at? And on the other side of the stage, Chris Tunn, who are you expecting to pop off tonight?
I mean, it would be for me, Ao Ling. I mean, this guy is just an absolute dynamo. How long we've seen him around in this Q9 team and how long he has been just a stalwart of the scene. He has just got absolutely everything. And I think what a lot of people will point towards with this Q9 team, realistically, is how good their search and destroy is. Conceivably, probably the best search and destroy team on the planet. And that is going to be a huge issue for New Gen Ninja specifically. That is really where they have to look at the rest of their game between these two teams. They are going to have to go in and pretty much win every single one of the respawns. And that is not an easy thing to do against Q9 either. Their search and destroy, though, is very much on par.
Shout out to our audio wizards. They just ran a whole new line to Infinity. It's your turn to talk, my guy. Walk me through China's #2 seed.
Alrighty, they tried to silence me, and we're back. Yeah, China, Q9, they are here to play after how many second place finishes? Q9, they want a championship under their belt. The closest they've ever gotten, technically speaking, it is a win, was the Snapdragon Mobile Masters in 2024, although it should be said, some of the competition wasn't exactly there. So, yeah, Q9, these are a godlike set of boys. Obviously, they've been through some kind of roster changes throughout the year. They started the year with Sun. They had to trade him out for the newbie on the block, Zero, during CDM. Zero, unfortunately, underage here for the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. So Cloud has come back from